This page of SEGA Saturn magazine is bursting with urgent news. It's announcing that the magazine is going bi-monthly, starting from the next issue, which will be released on November 24th. The big scoop is the confirmation that Virtua Fighter 2.1 is coming to the SEGA Saturn. It also teases a special feature which is like a pre-event magazine for the 95 Best SEGA Saturn Game Awards, voted for by a massive 1.5 million users. There are lists highlighting some key games. On the left, it mentions Sega Rally Championship, Virtua Cop, X-Men, Darkstalkers, Vampire Hunter, King of Fighters 95, Fatal Fury 3, Battle Arena Toshinden S, Air's Adventure, Sakura Wars, and Gekibo, Gekishiboy. Another section talks about the latest software battleground, featuring titles like Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Guardian Heroes, Dragon Ball Z, Ultimate Battle 22, Mobile Suit Gundam, Darius Gaiden, Fist of the North Star, J-League Pro Soccer Club, Otsukuru, and Quo Vadis. Finally, there's a Sega Saturn Complete Guide section listing World Advanced Daisen Ryaku, Princess Maker 2, X Japan, and King of Boxing. The page also prominently features a rally car, possibly hinting at racing game coverage. It confirms this is the December 1995 issue and reiterates the bi-monthly schedule starting on November 24th, with issues hitting shelves on the 2nd and 4th Fridays of each month. There's even a mention of Cyber Troopers Virtualon from AM3, suggesting it's also heading to the Saturn. This page promotes the Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series. It announces volumes 3 and 4, featuring Akira Yuki and Pai-chan respectively, are coming on November 17th, priced at 1,280 yen each. The advert mentions that the series utilizes design teams from Virtua Fighter 3 and includes image vocal albums from Virtua Fighter 2's Dancing Shadows. There's also a prize draw for 50,000 people, where you can win a Dural present by collecting application tickets from the CG Portrait Series packages. Below are images and details for volumes 1 through 10. Volumes 1 and 2, Sarah and Jackie, are already available. Volumes 5 and 6, Wolf and Lao, are scheduled for release on December 8th. Volumes 7 and 8, Shun and Lion, are coming on December 12th. Finally, Volumes 9 and 10, Cage and Jeffrey, are slated for release on February 9th. At the bottom, it proudly declares that Virtua Fighter 2, Hirotachi, are continuously appearing, and mentions that the software includes image vocal sound and karaoke, priced at 1,280 yen. This page is dedicated to the game Baku Baku Animal, World Animal Championship, a new puzzle game for the Sega Saturn. It's described as a 3D character-driven falling block puzzle game with a fresh feel. The new release price is 4,800 yen. The game is explained as easy to understand and provides a refreshing play experience. You feed falling blocks to the animal characters to attack. It features 1P versus CPU, 1P vs 2P, and a rumble mode, offering 3 different play modes. The advert emphasizes it's a comfortable and exhilarating competitive puzzle game. Below, there are 2 smaller adverts. One promotes Yoko Musha Aiden, Arima Senki, Water Margin Warrior Legend, Arima Battle Chronicle. Touted as a true martial arts game where you can see and hear real martial arts. It's priced at 5,800 yen and categorized as a fighting action game. The other advert is for Duel, subtitled Golden Axe, The Duel, also priced at 5,800 yen and in the fighting action genre. It states that Sega's famous action games are powered up for versus fighting games. The page also features the Sega Saturn console itself at the bottom right, with a tagline, Great Software, from Sega Saturn. This page is all about a big Sega Saturn event called Toshimain vs. Sega Saturn, celebrating the Saturn's 1-year anniversary since release. It's happening at Toshimain Amusement Park across November 23rd, 24th, and 25th. They're inviting 20,000 pairs of people to come along. The event promises a huge gaming experience, with 250 Sega Saturn consoles available for playing new software, ahead of release, across 25 multi-screens. There's also an arcade corner featuring Virtua Fighter, 2-game tournaments, and Fighting Vipers Gold Match battles. On the main stage, you can expect new game announcements, developer talks, and other exciting content. To attend, you needed to apply by postcard before November 15th. The page details how to apply, asking for your address, name, age, occupation, and phone number, plus your preferred date and time slot from 3 options across the event days. It's a competition to get in, and they'll be selecting winners.
This sounds like a massive celebration for Saturn fans with lots of games and activities to enjoy.
This page showcases Virtua Cop for the Sega Saturn, declaring it as the world's first truly realistic 3D gun shooting game for home consoles. It highlights the immersive experience with texture mapping for beautiful graphics and fast-paced gameplay. The page mentions a training mode where 2 players can compete. It features images of the game's main characters in action poses, along with screenshots showing gameplay with targeting reticles, suggesting a first-person perspective. It also advertises the Virtua Gun peripheral, emphasizing its black body and authentic feel. The page includes pricing information, listing the Virtua Cop game and Virtua Gun bundle at 7,800 yen, the standalone Virtua Cop game at 5,800 yen, and the standalone Virtua Gun at 2,900 yen. It notes a release date of November 24th and categorizes the genre as shooting. Overall, the page is a strong advertisement for Virtua Cop and its dedicated light gun, promoting it as a must-have realistic shooting experience for Sega Saturn owners. This page is all about X Japan Virtual Shock 001 for the Sega Saturn. This music entertainment title brings the excitement of X Japan's legendary 1994 Tokyo Dome 2-day concert right to your console. It's packed with footage from the concert itself, including 3 of their latest songs. Even better, the band members themselves supervised the whole thing to make sure it's authentic. You'll even get to experience backstage moments in a game-like format, letting you get closer to X Japan than ever before. The game is now on sale for 6,800 yen, excluding tax. This page is showcasing the upcoming simulation RPG, FIDA, the Emblem of Justice remake. It seems to be focusing on some of the cool units you'll be commanding, like the Cargo Dragon Type 1 and Cargo Dragon Type 2 troop carriers. They've detailed their dimensions, performance specs, and even their armament things like sonic blasters, laser cannons, and even freeze bombs. The text on the right side sets the scene, talking about peace enforcement and a rebellion in a place called Bard Village, hinting at the game's storyline. They're really emphasizing the remake aspect, breaking it down into 3 points. Firstly, it's getting full animation movie sequences for the opening and ending, which is always a nice touch. Secondly, they're adding new characters to the original story, giving players even more to discover. And thirdly, it sounds like they've gone all out on voice acting, bringing in some well-known voice talents. The screenshots give you a peek at the anime-style characters and some in-game scenes. There's also a section at the bottom for radio and TV game shows, listing programs like Mami no Radikaru Communication and TV Game Radions, giving schedules and DJs. It all points towards FIDA remake being close to release, with a "coming soon" message and the price still to be decided. This page is all about the Sega Saturn Dragon Ball Z game, Dragon Ball Z Shin Butoden. It's showcasing Goku in full Super Saiyan mode, powering up a Kamehameha. The bold Japanese text really emphasizes the action, saying something like, 27 Super Warriors are waiting for you on the true battlefield, which highlights the large character roster for the game and teases the intense battles players can expect. It looks like a full page dedicated to getting fans hyped for this Dragon Ball fighting game on the Sega Saturn. This page is still hyping up Dragon Ball Z Shin Butoden, building on the last page. It showcases a great image of Goku, Majin Buu, Hercule, Pan, and even B the dog, all together in a dynamic pose. The page goes into more detail about the gameplay features, mentioning the returning dual screen system and highlighting the new background change system that mixes up the fighting arenas. They're also showcasing new game modes. There's Mr. Satan mode, which is a bit of a joke mode where you play as Hercule and try to bluff your way through situations. And then there's the Tenkaichi Budokai mode for proper tournament-style fights. Get ready. It's scheduled for release on November 17th and will cost 6,800 yen. This page introduces Chibi Maruko-chan no Taisen Pazuru Dama for the Sega Saturns. It's described as a super popular competitive puzzle game, similar to Puzzle Bobble, but starring the beloved Chibi Maruko-chan characters. The page emphasizes the thrill of chain reactions and reversals in gameplay. It highlights the cute characters and mentions that the game features the same voice actors from the anime, promising fun reactions and unique brain-teasing puzzle action that will get you hooked. The Sega Saturn version was set to release on December 8th, with a suggested retail price of 5,800 yen. There's also a Get the Soft campaign advertisement at the bottom of the page. This page is a Konami advertisement showcasing 4 popular games currently on sale for the Sega Saturn. At the top, there's an image promoting Tokimeki Memorial, described as a huge hit romance simulation game arriving on the Sega Saturn in spring '96. It talks about school, youth, and love, and the screenshots hint at dating sim gameplay. Then, it dives into the 4 featured titles. First up is the Twin Bee Deluxe Pack, which bundles together the cute shooting games Twin Bee Yahoo and Ditana Twin Bee. Next is Issei Meijin, a serious shogi, Japanese chess, game, emphasizing its authentic gameplay. Following that is Chikyu Powerful Pro Yaku 95, a baseball game, promising to be the most fun baseball game in the series so far. Lastly, we have the Parodius Deluxe Pack, featuring the crazy and comical shooter Parodius Da in a dream pairing. All 4 games are priced between 5,300 and 5,800 yen. At the bottom there's also a scratch card campaign, where you can win Konami Sega Saturn software. This page seems to be an advertisement or announcement within the Sega Saturn magazine itself. It's promoting something called Buyo Saturn and a contest. The big text in the center reads like a catchy phrase, maybe like, even more accessible, or making it through the hoops. It looks like if you fill out a questionnaire, you can enter a lottery to win a Buyo Saturn prize. They mention that 100 people will be selected each month for a limited time, and to check the SS Buyotsu instruction manual for more details, suggesting this is a regular feature of the magazine. At the bottom right it says popular and mentions a company name, which is probably the publisher of the magazine itself, indicating this is a promotional page for the magazine and its content, rather than a specific game. This page is an advert for Puyo Puyotsu, showcasing the game with large colorful characters. The advert highlights several key features under the headings Game, Video, and Song. For the game, it mentions Variation Up, with deeper puzzle modes, including beginner and expert modes, and a new Tsu mode. For video, it mentions Exciting Live, and the recreation of the Master Tournament live scene. Lastly, for song, it highlights Burning Hot Song, featuring Tanaka Katsumi's message song, Zuto Sobani Iruyo, Zuto Sobani Iruyo, and another song alongside the theme song Burning Fire Dance, with NEC Avenue CD release dates mentioned in October. There is a mention of 98 limited edition copies being available, and a price of 4,800 yen, excluding tax. The bottom of the page has the compile company information and the Act Against AIDS logo. This page showcases the game JB Herald Blue Chicago Blues for the Sega Saturn. It's a visually striking advert with a huge close-up of an eye, reflecting a figure holding a knife, definitely setting a suspenseful, thriller-like atmosphere. The tagline at the top in Japanese suggests, "One incident, Sega Saturn," hinting at a mystery unfolding on the console. The game title Blue Chicago Blues is prominently displayed, along with the JB Herald branding and the River Hill Soft Company logo. The bottom of the page contains standard company contact details for River Hill Soft. This page is a full-page advert for the Sega Saturn game JB Herald Blue Chicago Blues. It's grabbing attention with the bold red text at the top, which emphasizes the shocking or thrilling nature of the game. The advert highlights it as a full-fledged mystery adventure game, pushing the Sega Saturn's capabilities with high-quality visuals and sound. It mentions that players will be chasing a serial killer in Chicago as a detective, navigating deep mysteries and interrogating suspicious people within a limited time frame, piecing together evidence and clues to catch the real culprit. Key selling points include a massive 130-minute live-action movie shot on location in Chicago and Hollywood, featuring 29 actors and 17 real-world locations. The game boasts high-quality video and digitally processed high-quality images. It also emphasizes the movie-level voice acting, dubbed into Japanese. There's a special bonus mentioned. Buying the game at select shops will get you a Blue Chicago Blues Investigation Guide pamphlet. The advert concludes with a big yellow banner announcing it's already on sale for Sega Saturn as a 2 CD set, priced at 7,800 yen, excluding tax. Screenshots show in-game menus and a map interface, alongside live-action video stills. The overall impression is that this is a serious, mature mystery game with a cinematic presentation. The next page is an advert for the SEGA Saturn exclusive game, America Udon Ultra Quiz. It's heavily promoting itself as the home console version of the popular, long-running TV quiz show Ultra Quiz. The tagline screams, "Everyone, let's go to New York!" with the Statue of Liberty dominating the visual.
This quiz game boasts a massive 10,000 questions, promising a real test of knowledge, intellect, and stamina. It's framed as a huge quiz challenge taking place across America, from ultra-wide dome to Narita Airport and famous cities. The goal is to reach New York and Lady Liberty, overcoming rivals and conquering 25,000 participants. Key features highlighted are the voice-acted questions and the fact that the host from the NTV show, Fukuzawa Akira, is the announcer in the game. It details a luxurious 5-corner structure, which are basically 5 game modes. Challenge the Ultra Quiz, a checkpoint-style quiz battle, checkpoint training to practice, Ultra Quiz trial to test your skills, and Ultra Quiz data to study data from the TV show. The advert concludes by stating, it is already on sale for 5,800 yen. That looks like a comprehensive quiz experience for fans of the TV show and quiz games in general. This page is an advertisement for the King of Boxing on SEGA Saturn. It's being touted as the first polygon-based boxing game for the system, promising smooth animations and, which means a free viewpoint, to really bring the excitement of boxing to life. The tagline encourages you to become a legendary boxer and challenge yourself to be champion with a custom-made fighter. The ad highlights various game modes. The main mode lets you play as one of 30 boxers, aiming for the world champion title in both single and 2-player versus modes. The debut mode is all about creating your own boxer by customizing their body, face, costume, and boxing style to make a truly unique fighter to take on the world. It mentions a replay feature to relive those knockout moments from various angles. The sound section emphasizes realistic boxing sounds, the audience cheers, and even corner commentary to fully immerse you in the ring atmosphere. The game was already on sale for 5,800 yen, published by Victor Entertainment. This page is all about the SEGA Saturn racing game, Tudge King: The Spirits. It's being advertised as a groundbreaking, full polygon 3D racing game that realistically models real mountain roads. The ad highlights that you can customize your car's engine, tires, and suspension to create your ultimate machine for conquering these winding mountain passes. It mentions several game modes, including a King Battle mode, which is for IP, suggesting internet play, a Versus mode for 2-player battles, and a TT or time trial mode for solo racers. The game is also compatible with the SEGA Saturn racing controller. The tagline emphasizes the thrill of taking on these challenging mountain roads, even if crashing is a risk. The game was set to be released on November 10th and priced at 5,800 yen. It looks like a pretty exciting and detailed racing experience for the SEGA Saturn. This page showcases 2 exciting games coming to the SEGA Saturn. First up is Gunbird, a popular arcade scrolling shooter that's making its way to the Saturn. It promises a quirky adventure set in a 20th century Europe, with unique characters designed by Nakamura Hirotaka, packed anime-style cutscenes, a story mode, a Saturn-exclusive consumer original mode, and even a user participation gallery mode. It's a 12-player shooter priced at 5,800 yen and slated for release on December 15th, with a PlayStation version also arriving at the same time. Then we have the Saturn original Megaten title, Devil Summoner: Soul Hackers, finally launching at the end of the year. This RPG is leveraging the 32-bit power of the Saturn to deliver 2D fields and 3D polygon dungeons for a more immersive experience. It boasts over 300 demons, drawing heavily from global myths and legends, alongside original demons and a robust demon fusion system. Devil Summoner: Soul Hackers is a single-player RPG priced at 6,800 yen and is scheduled to release in the latter half of December. Both games are looking like great additions to the SEGA Saturn library. This page features a showcase for a fishing game from MediaQuest. The page is dominated by a large image of a vibrant blue marlin or sailfish, setting the aquatic theme. Below this impressive fish, you can see 3 screenshots that highlight different aspects of the gameplay. The first screenshot is from the Point Select screen, which shows players can freely choose their fishing spot in a vast ocean. The second screenshot is titled
tackle and lure select, emphasizing the importance of choosing the right equipment for the catch, describing it as the essence of fishing games. Finally, the fight screenshot shows the exciting moment of battling a fish, highlighting the realistic feel of the game, and mentions the thrill of the fight sequence. The text at the bottom appears to be standard legal information, confirming it's a SEGA Saturn title. This page continues the focus on the SEGA Saturn fishing game from MediaQuest, World Fishing. The text really emphasizes the realistic and immersive experience it aims to deliver, highlighting the use of real location footage and polygon graphics to create the ultimate fishing simulation. It mentions the thrill of trolling for massive marlin and the intense battles when lure fishing for black bass. Choosing the right fishing spot and lure are key elements, capturing the essence of real fishing. Adding to the authenticity, they've included overseas location scenes supervised by Hiroki Matsukata, aiming to bring the true feeling of being there right to your living room. It's supervised by the Japan Game Fish Association and was scheduled for release in January 1996 with a price tag of 5,800 yen before tax. The game is published by Mitsui & Company, Limited, with sales support from MediaQuest.
This page spotlights Princess Maker 2 for the SEGA Saturn, a highly anticipated release of the popular raising simulation game. The tagline emphasizes the player's role in nurturing the daughter towards her dreams of beauty and becoming a princess. It highlights the game's arrival on SEGA Saturn, boasting top-tier graphics and a rich experience with over 100 voiced characters. The page mentions it's a Crydrum title, currently on sale for 7,800 yen, with a special premium gift for the first pressing. The original creator and illustrator is Takami Akai, and the voice cast includes Kumiko Watanabe, Mayumi Tanaka, Naomi Ryunami, Kiemi Chiba, Mayumi Ogawa, Miyuki Matsuki, and Akiko Kusachi, among others. Finally, it notes that the 3D version of Princess Maker 2 was set to release on December 9, 1995. This page is dedicated to the SEGA Saturn game Marriage, a brand new romance simulation experience. It's highlighted as a game where both men and women can enjoy a dual loser system. The page talks about experiencing marriage in your imaginary life with the person of your dreams. The game is scheduled for release in December 1995, priced at 6,800 yen. There's also mention of a character disc special edition called Kekkon Zenya Sokaiban, or Marriage Eve Premiere Edition, available for 2,000 yen. This edition is described as featuring illustrations and voice actor performances. Gameplay-wise, it seems to be about experiencing various events, from initial encounters and dates, to the proposal, and even possibly divorce. The game features 10 popular voice actors to bring the characters to life. The screenshots show typical dating sim interfaces with character portraits and dialogue boxes, suggesting you'll be interacting with characters through conversation and choices. This page showcases Galaxy Fight, Universal Warriors, a brand new fighting game for the SEGA Saturn. It's being hyped as a fighting supernova with dynamic battles. The page emphasizes it's designed to be easy for beginners to pick up, thanks to simple controls and special command mode for those who want to master advanced techniques. They also highlight the freedom of movement with dashing and backstepping. There are screenshots showing the in-game action and a large illustration of the diverse cast of characters, hinting at a unique and varied roster of fighters. The SEGA Saturn version is slated for release on November 22nd, priced at 5,800 yen. Interestingly, there's also a PlayStation version announced for January 96. Also at 5,800 yen, there's a prize campaign where 300 lucky customers can win Galaxy Fight premium merchandise in a lottery. Prizes include a special Saturn controller, a set of 2 original telephone cards, and a soundtrack CD. The next page is an advertisement for the game Wizards Harmony from Arc System Works. It's described as a fantasy-raising simulation game called Soda Venture. The game is coming to both PlayStation and SEGA Saturn, with pre-orders open now and a spring release planned. The price is set at 4,900 yen. The page features a large illustration with the game's logo and many Chiba-style anime characters. There's also a picture of a woman identified as Amos,
Inoue Yoshiko, who sings the opening and ending themes for Wizards Harmony. She is mentioned as a 21-year-old DJ from FM radio, with great singing ability, and she also voices the character Cynthia in the game. The advertisement highlights that Arc System Works has an internet homepage and Arc Times, where they share game information, quizzes, and details about art exhibitions, updated twice a week. They encourage readers to check the website for more information about Egg Zebra and Wizards Harmony. The website address is listed as http://www.arxi.co.jp/.
The bottom of the page has a section explaining the game's concept as a raising game and adventure game combined, described as SODAventure. It talks about a school called Skills and Wisdom, or Wizards Academy, where Cynthia is. The text describes wanting to be friends with Cynthia and join the academy to support her, making it sound like a story-driven raising sim.
This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game Stroll. It's billed as a full animation interactive movie game and emphasizes its movie-like graphics and gameplay. The tagline is, "The hidden light of 7 colors." The advert highlights several key features. It boasts full animation movie quality, promising immersive visuals. It mentions 48 multi-endings, suggesting a branching narrative based on player choices and playstyle.
The game also claims realistic sound and powerful effects. Control-wise, it's advertised as having simple operation, using just the directional pad and 2 buttons, aiming for easy accessibility. There's a section showcasing the voice cast, featuring pictures and names of voice actors, including Hayashi Yuji, Sato Masaharu, Kayano Yoshiko, Nishimaki Yoshiko, and Saka Osamu, with Hirokawa Hiroshi and Shiozawa Kaneto also pictured. The bottom of the page states, it's a full animation interactive movie game again, and lists the price at 4,800 yen, excluding tax. The release date is prominently displayed as November 24th. There are also some small screenshots showing in-game scenes. This page is introducing the 3RAD, a sound enhancer for TV games and computer games. It's advertised as using SRS 3D sound technology from America to create a super realistic 3D sound experience for both games and movies. The ad emphasizes the immersive sound, comparing it to being in a movie theater or game center, and promises powerful 3D sound that will shake your body with realistic monster footsteps, explosions, and engine noises, bringing virtual reality sound to your gaming. The device itself, pictured in the ad, is simple to connect and operate. It's made in the USA and priced at 7,800 yen and available at various retailers. It looks like a pretty wide range of stores, from toy stores to electronic shops. The excited kid in the image really sells the experience, showing how mind-blowing the sound enhancement is supposed to be. This page is a vibrant advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game Tadaimen Planet Anomaly, which is described as a territory-grabbing, planet development simulation game. The page is visually dominated by a group of cute, cartoonish robot characters who are presumably the stars of the game. It also announces a special promotion where lucky customers who purchase the PlayStation version of Tadaimen Planet Anomaly can win the amazing prize of having a star in the night sky named after them. This contest runs from December to March, with 3 winners selected each month for a total of 9 lucky individuals. Winners will receive official documentation from the International Star Registry, including a certificate, a card detailing the star's position and registered name, and a constellation chart to help them locate their star. Even if you don't win the star naming prize, there's a chance to win an original Tadaimen Planet Anomaly telecard as a consolation prize for 100 other entrants. The game itself is apparently already on sale and receiving good reviews, priced at 5,800 yen excluding tax. The bottom right of the page also features the logo and contact details for the game's publisher, Ultron. This page is an advertisement for Yoyogi Animation Academy, a school focused on nurturing creative talent for the 21st century. They boast a very impressive 97.74% employment rate for their graduates, highlighting their success in placing students in the industry. The ad emphasizes that it's still possible to apply for enrollment, starting in April of 1996. A prominent figure featured is Akira Takashima, a special guest lecturer who encourages aspiring creators to be true to themselves and embrace their individuality. He talks about finding happiness and purpose by pursuing a career that aligns with one's own unique abilities and passions, suggesting that the Animation Academy is the perfect place to realize these dreams. The ad details various courses offered, including multimedia creator, CG anime and game, VFX special effects, visual illustration, junior novels, animator, manga comic pro development, finishing art, anime production, background art, anime AV operator, voice actor, and talent courses,
all with durations of either 1 or 2 years. They highlight benefits like free health and medical consultations, and affordable on-campus dormitories for students, even after graduation. There's also information about free introductory sessions, and nationwide audition opportunities for voice actors, and new talent discovery, with locations and dates listed. The ad is visually bright and colorful, with cartoonish illustrations and photos of people associated with the Academy, aiming to attract those interested in creative careers in animation and related fields. Thunderstorm and Road Blaster, classic full animation games, originally from Data East, are re-released on PlayStation and SEGA Saturn. This 2-disc set features arcade mode, mirroring the arcade originals, and original mode, offering unique enhancements. Thunderstorm, a 1984 aerial combat game, provides thrilling shooting action. Road Blaster, a 1985 driving game, immerses players in a full animation world of car action and revenge. Purchasers can receive a memorial booklet containing development materials by sending in a questionnaire postcard. Both games are available now, priced at 6,800 yen, excluding tax. This page is an advert for video CD releases of 2 anime series. On the left side, it promotes Aim for the Ace, highlighting its video CD release with 9 volumes containing 25 episodes, described as a youth story. It mentions a release date of October 95 and a price point for individual volumes and a set box. On the right side, it's advertising Ashita no Jo 2 on video CD, stating it's a 16-volume collection with 47 episodes, emphasizing high quality and a complete collection. It also lists prices for individual volumes and the complete set box, marked as now on sale. The bottom of the page explains playback compatibility for video CDs, mentioning it can be played on video CD logo-equipped devices, CDI/DV players, game consoles, PCs, and other video CD compatible players. It appears to be promoting the video CD format itself alongside these anime releases. This page introduces 3 personalities: Yuho Asakawa, Ayumi Sugisawa, and Junko Nakai, who are featured in the SEGA Saturn magazine. The text at the top hints at a studio photo shoot, with the phrase, "You are the one who presses the shutter in the studio. We are on the other side of the viewfinder." It seems to be a page dedicated to these women, possibly models or presenters for the magazine, inviting readers to send them fan letters. Below each name, their full names are provided in Japanese, and at the bottom there's a section with hearts saying, "Fan letters are welcome." Addresses for sending fan letters to each person are also listed, each associated with a different company: World Run, Mediabox, and Jap. Trans Pegasus Limited is credited at the very bottom, likely as the publisher of the magazine. This page is an advertisement for the SEGA Saturn game Virtual Photo Studio, a cameraman simulation game that is rated for adults only. It highlights the Saturn version, which is scheduled for release in December and priced at 6,800 yen. The page also mentions a sexy making video present campaign, where sending in questionnaire postcards gives you a chance to win a making-of video for the game. The game features a cast, including a model named Seonji Tsuyoshi, alongside Yuki Ruriko, Asakawa Ayumi, Sugisawa Ayumi, and Nakai Junko. And it even casts the player as the cameraman, referring to "you who bought it." You can see the Acclaim logo at the bottom, suggesting they are the publisher in Japan. This page from Neo Geo World Volume 3 is packed with fresh info. It kicks off with the latest on the Samurai Showdown series, highlighting Samurai Showdown Slash of Swords as the 3rd installment. They're also introducing True Samurai Showdown Bushido Chronicles, which is touted as Neo Geo's first ever RPG. Moving on, it seems King of Fighters 95 and Fatal Fury 3 are heading to the Saturn. The magazine teases this as a big collaboration between SNK and SEGA. There's a strategy special section covering a range of games including Tenchi Muyo, True Confessions, Gaokaiser, Pulstar, Stake Swimmer, and Sonic Wings 3. Finally, at the bottom, there's a release date for October 30th.
Likely for this issue of Neo Geo World itself.
They're really pushing the King of Fighters 95 here, mentioning a staggering 2024 possible team combinations, calling it a complete capture. The next page showcases Tokimeki Mahjong Paradise for the SEGA Saturn. This one's advertising a whopping 3,000 animation frames, which they're really pushing as a highlight. suggesting it's got animation quality beyond typical TV anime. They are boasting about including original animation cells and setting materials as a first-run bonus, which is a nice touch for collectors. It's a mahjong game, clearly, but with a Love Beat subtitle and plenty of cute anime girls, so it's definitely got that dating sim vibe going on too. They're advertising it as a thrilling mahjong game of love. They're highlighting the voice cast as enchanting and gorgeous, listing names like Mayumi Tanaka, Tomoko Nishi, and others. Seems like they've pulled in some popular voice talent. There's even a Tokimeki present campaign with things like original cell art, telecards, signed color paper, and stickers. The price is set at 6,800 yen, and they're promoting it as already on sale and well received. Looks like a fun, anime-styled mahjong game, with plenty of fan service and collectible bonuses for Saturn owners. This page is the front cover of the inaugural issue of SEGA Saturn Magazine, Volume 1, Number 1, dated December 8th. It's billing itself as your perfect guide to the latest SEGA Saturn info.
This first issue boasts a big scoop on upcoming SEGA Saturn software.
The cover is packed with game titles they're featuring, including Virtua Cop and Sega Rally Championship. Looks like they're also covering Guardian Heroes, Mobile Suit Gundam, and Dark Savior. You can also see titles like Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner and The King of Fighters 95 being highlighted. It appears they're previewing Dragon Ball Z True Majin Tale, Another Bible, The Spirits, and World Advanced Great Strategy 2. This issue also comes with a special bonus, a Thunder God Legend S special poster. And just a note for readers, the magazine became available in December at Tokyu Toyoko line bookstores. This page is diving deeper into Virtua Cop 2. It's got a really striking image of a character pointing a gun, definitely giving off that intense action vibe from Virtua Cop. The page is hyping up Virtua Cop 2 as a big feature, calling it a scoop right before release. It mentions a special feature that explores everything about Virtua Cop 2, including untold secrets of development. There's also something about a Saturn first anniversary commemoration and a special project being announced. It looks like they're promising a lot of exclusive content and big reveals for Saturn fans. The page seems to be continuing the excitement built on the cover and really focusing on delivering detailed information for the Saturn's audience. This page is diving into the latest arcade games. It's issue number 2 of Arcade Game Magazine from December. The cover star is Akira Yuki from Virtua Fighter, striking a powerful pose.
They're teasing a special Virtua Fighter 2.1 poster as a bonus gift. There's a breakdown of hot new titles from different developers. SNK is bringing out new Samurai Showdown games, Samurai Showdown 2i, Blades of Blood, and the RPG, Samurai Showdown RPG. Namco is on the list with Soul Blade. Sega AM3 is showcasing Virtual On, Cyber Troopers, and Sega AM2 is showing off Fighting Vipers and other games including Virtua Fighter. There's a big feature called Burn Shooting Games, a perfect guide to shooting games, listing titles like Virtua Cop 2, Pulstar, and surprisingly, Virtua Fighter 2.1 is in there too, along with Gukaiser, Stake Winner, Marvel Superheroes, Scramble Spirits, Sky Target, Thundercross 2, Mega Man, The Power Battle, and Aero Fighters 3, among others. It also mentions a beginner's guide for new arcade gamers, something about sports fishing games in game centers, and a game developer report on Metamorph Force. This is the contents page of the December 1995 SEGA Saturn magazine. It features a contents section covering articles on games like Virtua Fighter 2, X-Men, Children of the Atom, and Street Fighter Alpha. Page 109 previews the 95 SEGA Saturn magazine Grand Prix, highlighting top games. SEGA Saturn Press.
Page 114 announces new release titles like Shootoral and Bomberman. Coming soon soft. Page 119 previews developing games, including Guardian Heroes and Dragon Force. Page 165 offers strategies for post-release software, such as Princess Maker 2. Page 174 highlights M3 Research Rush and Denu Senki Virtualon. The magazine also includes regular features covering news, reader content, and software information. This page is all about the SEGA Saturn's internet capabilities, showcasing a prototype system ahead of its full spring launch. It's a joint project between Sega and Nissan, aiming to make internet access simple on the Saturn. They're calling it Internet Saturn, and this prototype is now public. Sega developed a dedicated modem and a Crydron-based application suite for it. Using this, you can access Nissan's internet homepage, called Compass, which is pretty cool. They're saying it's comparable to existing SIUX in performance. They focused on making the connection registration part user-friendly, so it won't confuse general users. Aiming for a spring market release, they expect the Saturn itself to be reasonably priced, and see it becoming the standard for home information terminals. Also on this page, there's an announcement for a SEGA Saturn one-year anniversary event. From November 23rd to 25th in Tokyo at Toshimain, it's a big celebration called Toshimain vs. SEGA Saturn. They're setting up 200 Saturns for new software demos, and a massive 25-screen setup for Virtua Fighter 2 tournaments. They're also highlighting Fighting Vipers and Fighters Mega Mix for the event.
There will be talk shows and lots of other fun stuff to celebrate the Saturn's first year. Sounds like a blast if you're in Tokyo at the time. Sega is hosting a Christmas-themed year-end program at Yokohama Joyopolis and Ichikawa Gulliver, featuring attractions based on Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, racing games, and Saturn software demos. Sega is also releasing a Sonic the Hedgehog OVA, with a rental version including Virtua Fighter anime and a retail version with CG extras. A Sega Thanks Luxury Present campaign offers a quiz with prizes like London travel tickets, PCs, and cash, with the draw at Yokohama Joyopolis on December 24th. Niigata Joyopolis opens December 9th with an IMAX ride film theater. Other announcements include the Hori Electric AV selector for multiple consoles, Phantasy Star art books and a drama CD, and Puyo Puyo themed merchandise like a Game Watch and Balance game from Bandai.
SEGA Saturn Supporters Volume 9 features an interview with singer and voice actress Maki Yoshimura, who enjoys musicals and music but isn't a big gamer. The issue also includes a sound and visual clip section. The CD releases highlighted include Higher Love by Katsumi, a popular theme song, Tenshi no Koe ga Kikoemasu ka by Yoko Ishida, a Christmas song, Merry Christmas for You by Yuki Uchida, a Christmas mini-album, Sweet Christmas Akiko by Akiko, a gospel-inspired Christmas song, Boo by SMAP, a best album, Just Believe by Ray, the theme song for Street Fighter 2V, the Shining Wisdom soundtrack, a dance-style arrangement, and the Tokimeki Memorial original game soundtrack featuring background music and vocal tracks. This page highlights the top 10 best-selling Sega Saturn games and the top 5 most popular arcade video games. For Saturn software, World Advanced Daisen Ryaku, Kotetsu no Senpu, or Iron Storm, tops the chart, noted for its realistic battles and immersive gameplay, suggesting it might cause sleep deprivation for players. SimCity 2000 is in second place, praised as a faithful port of the PC hit, though it mentions mouse support might be lacking. Third is Layer Section, known internationally as Rayforce, celebrated for its complete port and exhilarating gameplay. Wing Arms, Aratanaru Seiki, takes fourth spot, a title that sparked pre-release discussion, with its commercials being a point of amusement. Other games in the Saturn Top 10 include Nobunaga's Ambition, Tenduki, Twinbee Yahoo Deluxe Pack, Virtua Fighter Remix, Magic Knight Rayearth, Masters, Haruka Naru Augusta 3, and Shining Wisdom. The arcade video game ranking features Tekken 2 at the top, followed by Virtua Fighter 2.1, Street Fighter 0, Virtua Cop 2, and Virtua Fighter 2. This section emphasizes the excitement around new arcade games appearing at the JAMA show, and mentions titles like Fighting Vipers and Cyber Troopers Virtualon as anticipated Saturn ports for home play. Two polls highlight Sega Saturn fan desires. The first, a most wanted ports list, is topped by Dukyusei, Tetsukyu, and Final Fantasy. Other popular choices include Virtua Striker, Dragon Quest, and Ridge Racer, revealing a diverse demand for RPGs, fighters, racing, and simulation games. The second poll reveals anticipated upcoming titles. Virtua Fighter 2 leads the pack, followed by Sega Rally Championship and Virtua Cop. Street Fighter 0 and Vampire Hunter also rank highly. The list also includes titles like Mobile Suit Gundam and Guardian Heroes, highlighting the strong end-of-year release schedule with games across various genres. Progress reports for Indy 500 and Kyan Kyan Bunny Premiere indicate ongoing development. This article from a SEGA Saturn magazine features reader-voted rankings of games 1 year after the console's launch. The Saturn chart ranks existing titles, with World Advanced Daizenryaku, Iron Storm of Steel and Fire taking the lead, followed by Virtua Fighter 2 and Layer Section. Other popular games include Daytona USA, Panzer Dragoon, and Masters, Haruka Augusta 3.
The new soft rankings highlight individual game strengths. World Advanced Daizenryaku wins again, lauded for its strategic gameplay. Layer Section impresses with its action and story. Masters. Haruka Augusta 3 is praised for its realism, and Twinbee Yahoo! Deluxe Pack earns accolades for its parody and fun gameplay. 3. Reader comments express anticipation for future titles, especially Virtua Fighter 3, and recognize the high quality of existing games like Panzer Dragoon Saga, Radiant Silvergun, and Guardian Heroes. This page highlights more new game reviews and peripheral rankings. First up we have Fire Pro Wrestling Gaiden, Blazing Tornado, getting a decent score, praised for its graphics and wrestler variety, though some feel it lacks polish and the number of wrestlers is a bit small. Next is Neketsu Oyako, which scores quite well, being lauded as a fighting wind action game with a solid storyline and addictive gameplay, though some reviewers felt the steering was a bit sluggish. Moving to peripherals, the Fighting Stick SS tops the Saturn accessory charts, followed by the HorrorPad and the standard Saturn control pad. 2 new pads have entered the rankings this time. There's also a section discussing upcoming games, featuring Princess Maker 2, which reviewers think is well made and charming, and Wing Arms, which is praised for its cool opening and flight shooting, but suffers from poor screen visibility and some graphical issues. The page also calls for reader participation in game reviews and predictions, and announces a special giveaway of a power memory card and a Virtua gun. The general tone is excitement about the ongoing game rankings and upcoming releases, urging readers to stay tuned for the next issue. This page is all about the upcoming SEGA Saturn version of Virtua Fighter 2. It's a major scoop because the game is releasing on December 1st, and this is a special report a whole month before launch. With the game at 80% completion, it's packed with info, confirming it's being published by SEGA, and will cost 6,800 yen. Crucially, it will be a fighting game, of course, and supports 2-player battles. The big news is that the Saturn version will be compatible with the arcade version 2.1 update. This is great for hardcore players as it means better balance and all the latest tweaks from the arcades will be there. Apparently, you can even switch between the original Virtua Fighter 2 and the updated 2.1 in the options, which is a cool feature for purists or those wanting to explore the differences. They're even showing off the damage display feature, which is pretty neat to see. The page highlights that there are 6 game modes to dive into, and all stages are finished with fully rendered backgrounds. Plus, they are revealing the 2-player color variations for the characters. It also mentions that the advertising campaign for Virtua Fighter 2 is finalized, and they'll be showing off new demos soon. Overall, it sounds like they are really pushing Virtua Fighter 2 as a must-have title for the Saturn. This page continues the Virtua Fighter 2 coverage, announcing that all stages are now complete, and showcasing the underwater temple stage of Dural. This stage is highlighted as unique, due to the water's resistance affecting character movement, recreated in the Saturn version. There's a section called Stage Check that looks at stage changes and improvements. Moving on. Point 2 focuses on the 2P character color variations, and the unveiling of Kagemaru's unmasked face, which is a first reveal. The developers from AM2 are said to be nearing completion of all character designs. The page then spotlights Jackie Bryant, showing off his 2P colors and a popular fire pattern leather jacket outfit. This jacket is emphasized as a fan-favorite 2P color option, with the Saturn version aiming to faithfully reproduce its leather texture. Finally, there's a comment from the AM2 development team about the graphics, mentioning improvements in textures and polygon use to enhance the visual quality, particularly for the Saturn version. This article details Virtua Fighter 2's SEGA Saturn port, emphasizing stage and character improvements. It highlights a new stage specifically for Sarah and Jackie's rivalry, alongside the underwater temple stage. The Saturn version boasts enhanced visual fidelity, despite technical challenges, faithfully reproducing even minute details. The article also reviews character models, noting improved facial features.
The developers discuss the effort to maintain stage detail and the removal of some arcade elements. Color check sections. Analyze Wolf and Law's 2P color variations. Wolf's popular alternate look, featuring an orange design, is showcased alongside design choices and move highlights. Law's 2P color, featuring tiger embroidery, is compared to other versions, and the developer's palette adjustments are detailed, alongside a discussion of his special moves.
Virtua Fighter 2 on Sega Saturn offers a comprehensive gaming experience, with 6 modes. A significant upgrade from the original. 3 key modes are detailed: Arcade, VS, and Watch. Arcade mode mirrors the arcade experience, allowing players to battle CPU opponents in a set progression, perfect for beginners. VS mode enables 2-player battles with character switching and detailed battle data recording for analysis. Watch mode, a new addition, lets players observe CPU-controlled fights, providing a learning tool for beginners to study character matchups and strategies. The game utilizes screenshots to showcase these modes, emphasizing the varied and enhanced experience available on the home console. This page introduces exciting new modes in Virtua Fighter 2 for the Sega Saturn, making it an even more compelling home experience. The big news is Team Battle, a series first. Imagine 5-on-5 battles, where you strategically pick your team of 5 fighters to take down your opponent's team. You can even customize the match settings, like turning on life recovery between rounds for longer, more strategic fights. Next up is Ranking Mode, a mode for serious players to test their skills. The CPU evaluates your performance after each match and assigns you a rank from 10th to 1st grade. Apparently, the arcade version had some issues with ranking, but the Saturn version aims for a better, more balanced system, positioned between Virtua Fighter 2 and 2.1 in terms of difficulty. Finally, Expert Mode sounds incredibly innovative. This mode features an evolving AI that learns from your playstyle. The CPU analyzes your moves and combos to become a stronger opponent, almost like fighting a real expert. This is highlighted as a major selling point, offering endless replayability as the AI adapts and challenges you in new ways. The developers emphasize that the CPU learns player attack patterns, creating a truly dynamic and engaging single-player experience, and will use the names of moves you use often. It seems like Virtua Fighter 2 on Saturn is packed with features to keep players hooked. In an interview, Okayasu Tsukasa, the development chief of Virtua Fighter 2 for Saturn, discusses the game's progress. The team is focusing on an early release, refining gameplay, and enhancing polygon rendering and camera work from the arcade version. Stages are nearly complete, with debugging underway, especially concerning slowdown in water stages. Compatibility with 2.1 is being addressed, and balance adjustments are in progress. The game will offer easy, normal, and hard difficulty settings. A unique expert mode will feature a CPU that adapts to the player's style by analyzing power memory data, even using move names. Replays are saved using the power memory. Input delay has been minimized. A watch mode will be included, and the team had more development time this time around. The Q&A reveals the inclusion of Saturn Shark in the water stage. Stage selection in Versus mode is not available. The next SEGA Saturn magazine will have a major feature on the completed game. This page is all about Sega Rally Championship on the Sega Saturn, and it's currently at a 75% completion stage. They're calling this version an astonishing 75% version, and it seems like they've added a whole heap of new features and modes since the last preview. This version now includes almost all of the game modes. Arcade mode and time attack mode have been further refined, and they've also added a new lakeside course, which is said to be even harder than the advanced courses. Excitingly, they've included a 1vs1 battle mode, car setup options, option modes, and even an attract mode. It's packed! The reviewer seems impressed with the inclusion of the attract demo. Graphically, they mention the polygon rendering and camera work are really coming together nicely. They emphasize the dynamic camera angles and how well the cars look. The feeling is that the game is very close to arcade quality and looks fantastic. They also highlight the Toyota and Lancia licenses, confirming that these iconic rally cars will be featured, promising a faithful recreation of the WRC experience. The release date is confirmed for December 29th, priced at 5,800 yen, and it will be compatible with the Rack Racing controller. It's shaping up to be a top-tier racing game for the Saturn, and they seem really excited about its imminent release. This page is all about the brand new Lakeside course that's been added to SEGA Rally Championship, and they're really hyping it up as a super advanced and incredibly challenging track. They even call it a super high difficulty level course, emphasizing its harshness and beauty. The page is broken down into sections that give you a sneak peek and some tips for tackling specific parts of the course. First up, they cover corners 1 through 3, explaining it starts with a fast straight section before hitting a tricky right-hander, then a series of tight left turns. They point out that it's a narrow course, and you've really got to watch out for the walls, especially if you're new to it. The navigator shouts out warnings like, oh, which they say is a key point to listen out for. Then, they move on to corners 4 to the first straight, highlighting how good the background visuals are, just like the arcade game. They talk about a medium speed corner, followed by a short straight, and then a left medium corner. The reviewer mentions drifting slightly through these sections. Finally, they confirm that yes, you can absolutely play the new Lakeside course in time attack mode, so you can really practice and hone your skills. They seem to think this new course is seriously tough, so get ready for a real challenge if you're planning on racing on Lakeside. The Lakeside course in SEGA Rally Championship presents a challenging but rewarding experience. The first section emphasizes speed, with a long straight after a medium left turn. The following area features a series of tricky, closely spaced medium corners demanding smooth handling. The Lakeside section itself is a sequence of medium corners, visually enhanced by birds flying over the lake. The final stretch, from the chicane corner to the finish, replicates the arcade's difficulty, offering a rewarding experience for players who master it. Overall, the Lakeside course retains the arcade's difficulty, making it a true test for SEGA Rally fans. This page dives into the two-player battle and ghost features of what seems to be SEGA Rally Championship. The interviewer speaks with Mr. Nakamura from the CS Planning and Design Department, discussing the game's development progress, which is stated as 75% complete. They are currently fine-tuning aspects like collision detection and course details, especially visibility in certain sections. The level design includes beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses, with a super advanced level focusing on time attack in champion mode, where the goal is to clear all courses in first place, including the mountain and lakeside stages. They talk about the ghost car feature, which is a standard race against yourself, and confirms it's in all race game modes. The two-player mode is also discussed, specifically the object count, which is still being adjusted, and the game aims for a balance of speed and control and handling, even with different car sizes and screen sizes. The scoop section highlights the two-player battle mode in detail, emphasizing split screen, car selection from Toyota Celica, Lancia Delta, and tuned car variants. It mentions 3 selectable courses: beginner, intermediate, and advanced, including the Lakeside course. You can race in 3 or 5 lap races, and there's a time lug option, possibly related to time attack. The developers are still fine-tuning the polygon display, balance, and handling to make the two-player experience as smooth as the one-player mode. This SEGA Rally Championship preview focuses on sound design and early impressions. The sound team aimed for realistic engine and tire noises, using Q-Sound for immersion and recording actual car sounds. They worked to ensure consistent audio between arcade and Saturn versions. Daisuke Masamune's early impressions of a 75% complete version are positive, praising the car handling and cornering, calling the game very fun. A scoop section reveals the ghost car feature in time attack mode, allowing players to race against their best times. Finally, the CG design staff notes the game is nearing completion, highlighting the graphics quality and promising a worthwhile experience for veterans. The next issue will reveal setting details and secret cars. This page announces the 100% completion of Virtua Cop for the SEGA Saturn, highlighting it as a gun shooting game, SHT, set to release on November 24th for 7,800 yen. The article celebrates the final version, doing a pre-release check, emphasizing that it surpasses the original arcade version and incorporates Saturn-exclusive elements. The feature details improvements made for the Saturn port, focusing on enhanced visual effects like hit sparks, character shadows, and boss dialogue displays. They also mention changes to the controls and refined graphics, ensuring the Saturn version faithfully recreates the arcade experience while adding unique enhancements. Screenshots showcase gameplay with bullet impacts, shadowed characters, and a name entry screen. The article points out that even the boss lines are in the original English, but made easier to understand, and emphasizes the improved cooling effects in the game. There's also a spotlight on original CG artwork, featuring a police car and a character model, suggesting a focus on visual presentation. The overall tone is enthusiastic, encouraging players to check out the completed version and highlighting it as a must-have title that exceeds the arcade original. This page fully checks out the options and training modes in Virtua Cop for SEGA Saturn. It details the culty difficulty settings, which let you adjust game difficulty, lives, continues, and even on-screen sights. You can tweak gun looseness and audio settings too. And there's a sound test mode to listen to the game's music and sound effects. The page also shows the adjust setting for calibrating your light gun and a sign for customizing button controls for mouse or pad. Moving on to the training modes, there are two types. Exercise mode is described as target practice, where you shoot targets appearing on screen, aiming to improve your hit rate, a classic shooting gallery style mode. Versus play is a two-player mode, where you compete against each other in stages to determine a winner based on hit count and accuracy. It even mentions rampage play is also okay, suggesting a fun free-for-all style gameplay. Finally, the bottom of the page highlights characters Smarty and Kong as part of the fierce battles in Virtua Cop, setting the stage for intense action. This page dives into the final stage of Virtua Cop, which is set in an office building, and the text emphasizes the action and tension, comparing it to the movie Die Hard. It highlights the stage being the final showdown after stages 1 and 2. The page showcases different sections of the office building stage. First, there's rooftop combat, then moving down through stairs, and finally reaching the lobby area with a water fountain feature. The page points out destructible elements in the environment, like emergency lights that can be shot, and that items are hidden within destructible objects. There's a section dedicated to weapon pickups, detailing 4 weapon types: machine gun, shotgun, rifle, and magnum, each with different characteristics like firing rate, power, and spread. The page mentions the automatic weapon as a standard rapid-fire weapon, and also explains that items appear randomly and disappear quickly, so players need to be fast to grab them. Finally, it introduces the boss character, the EVL company president, described as the mastermind behind the criminal organization. He's shown in a large armored vehicle equipped with rocket launchers, setting up an intense final boss battle. The text ends with a call to action, suggesting that defeating this boss will lead to the downfall of the criminal organization. This page is an interview celebrating the completion of the Saturn version of Virtua Cop after about 8 months of development. The interview is with Mr. Kageyama, the chief designer, and focuses on the effort to recreate the arcade experience on the Saturn while adding unique elements. The team aimed to make each stage feel like a Virtua Cop stage, focusing on creating a dynamic and engaging environment. They discussed the challenges of polygon count on the Saturn and how they optimized the game. For example, they had to reduce the bullet hole effects on walls compared to the arcade version due to hardware limitations of home consoles, considering it looked messy on a home monitor. The interview also touches on the sound design of the game, with the sound staff mentioning that they wanted to create a soundscape that enhances the action movie feel of Virtua Cop. They mentioned that the background music is inspired by American rock music to create a cool atmosphere. They also considered the home environment sound systems, aiming for BGM and sound effects that would be enjoyable even at home. The page also has a development progress section, showing milestones like 20% completion in April 95 with initial gameplay reveal, 30% in June 95 at a toy show event, 60% in August 95 with release date decision, and finally announcing the release date as November 24th. The page ends with a box image of the Virtua Cop Saturn game. The next page is a special report all about X-Men, Children of the Atom for the Saturn, announcing that the full character roster has been successfully ported to the console and the game is finally complete. It mentions that it's been about 3 months since they started reporting on this X-Men title, and now all the characters are in. It's encouraging readers to buy it, suggesting if you're hesitating, this article will convince you. The page focuses on the character Storm, describing her as a goddess-like X-Men fighter who manipulates the weather. It details her fighting style, emphasizing her speed and wind-based powers. Several screenshots showcase her moves like Whirlwind, Lightning Attack, X-Power Flight, X-Power Wind Uprising, and her ultimate
HX Lightning Storm. Button commands are shown for some of these moves. It also highlights Storm's special characteristics, noting her ability to adjust jump trajectory and a dash move in flight activated by forward plus the PPP buttons. The page also mentions the release date in Japan as November 22nd, priced at 5,800 yen for versus battles. This page continues the focus on X-Men, Children of the Atom, and introduces two more playable characters, Spiral and Sentinel. Spiral is described as a mysterious being from another dimension, a sorceress with 6 arms who uses magic in combat. The page highlights her tricky fighting style utilizing illusionary magic, including teleportation, position swapping, and invisibility to confuse opponents. It mentions her Exodance special moves, triggered by various directional inputs and punch or kick buttons, allowing for position changes, teleports, quick falls, attack power-ups, speed boosts, and invisibility. Her HX Metamorphic Force is showcased as a powerful move to use after a PPP attack for a throw. Moving on to Sentinel, described as a robot soldier designed by humans to eradicate mutants lacking will or emotions. The page emphasizes Sentinel's overwhelming attack power and large body, making him hard to hit outside of weak points. While slow, his aerial combat from jumps and powerful rocket punch combos are key strategies. His X-Flight special moves are activated by directional inputs and punch or kick buttons, featuring a rocket punch and Sentinel Force attack. The HX Plasma Storm is his ultimate move, unleashed with down, forward, and PPP. Character features for both are highlighted. For Spiral, it's her unpredictable magic style, and for Sentinel, it's his ability to down opponents with a jump and strong punch, then follow up with a down and punch to launch them, also mentioning he deals guard damage. This page is a special report announcing Street Fighter Alpha for the Sega Saturn, stating it's currently 70% complete and scheduled for release this winter by Capcom. The text emphasizes that the Saturn version is being smoothly ported, promising high quality for Saturn users. The page highlights 2 characters from the game's Zero World section. First is Rose, described as a character original to Street Fighter Alpha, wielding soul power as her weapon and fighting for justice against evil. She wears red and emanates a blue aura. The second character is Nash, also an original character, a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, involved with a secret organization and seeking the truth, acting independently to uncover a great evil. Screenshots showcase both Rose and Nash in action, giving a glimpse of the Saturn version's graphics. The page confirms these are development screenshots. This guide focuses on chain combos in Capcom's Vampire Hunter. Darkstalker's Revenge, a versus fighting game priced at 6,800 yen. Chain combos are sequences of attacks linked by timed button presses, progressing from weaker to stronger attacks of the same type, punch to punch, kick to kick. They cannot link into special moves. Key points include understanding attack range, noting that a single button press can trigger multiple hits, and confirming combos before they connect. Starting with a weak punch and achieving at least 5 hits close to the opponent is recommended. Stop if the opponent is guarding, and utilize guard cancels. Chain combos can begin with jump-in or dash attacks for some characters, exemplified by Dimitri and Donovan screenshots, and characters such as Sasquatch, Morrigan, and Bishaman. The guide encourages practice to master the technique. This report previews the King of Fighters 95's upcoming Saturn release, generating excitement among gamers. It focuses on the game's teams and their backstories. The rival team, composed of Eiji Kisaragi, Billy Kane, and Iori Yagami, is driven by Gisa's influence and fueled by clan rivalries. The hero team, featuring Kyo Kusanagi, Benimaru Nikaido, and Goro Daimon, seeks revenge against Rugal. The report also introduces the Psycho Soldier Team, Fatal Fury Team, Art of Fighting Team, and Kim Team. These teams participate in the tournament for various reasons: testing skills, seeking challenges, or, in Kim's case, reforming his delinquent teammates, Chang Kohan and Choi Bounge. Each team's motivations and dynamics are presented alongside character artwork, setting the stage for the game's narrative. The next page presents the KOF 95 Gamers interview from SEGA Saturn Magazine, featuring insights from 4 different gamer representatives about the excitement surrounding King of Fighters 95. First up is Yo Shibuya, the programmer representative, who hopes the Saturn version improves upon the Neo Geo original, and expresses a desire to see Last Resort-style shooting games on Neo Geo. Ugisu, the street gamer representative, highlights the appeal of the edit mode in KOF 95, and appreciates characters like Kyo and Iori. He mentions enjoying counterattacks, but finds Reach to be somewhat ineffective. Yoko Aoyama, the female gamer representative, admits to not being very skilled at games, but is captivated by KOF 95, spending hours playing it after work. She expresses admiration for characters and finds the game challenging. Finally, Fujita King, the Neo Geo user representative, talks about the thrill of big reversals and aerial combat in KOF 95. He notes the tension and excitement in matches, especially with counterattacks and the ability to launch opponents.
The page also features character art and team formations. We see the Psycho Soldier team with Athena Asamiya, Kenso, and Chin, the Women Fighters team with King, Mai Shiranui, and Yuri Sakazaki, the Ikari team with Ralph, Clark, and Hydern, and the Fatal Fury team with Terry Bogard and Jui Bogard and Joe Higashi. The interviewees generally express strong positive feelings towards KOF 95, emphasizing its engaging gameplay and character depth. This page is all about Fatal Fury 3, Road to the Final Victory, the latest in the series. The page is promoting the game for the SEGA Saturn and highlights several new features. It mentions that the traditional two-line system has been revamped and new characters are being introduced. They're talking about sway line attacks, where you can quickly evade to the front line and launch attacks. Aerial combat is another focus, allowing for combos and juggles in the air. Finally, combination arts are in, meaning powerful combo attacks executed by pressing buttons in a specific sequence. The page shows character art of returning faces like Terry Bogard and Bossy Bogard, Joe Higashi, and Mai Shiranui, along with new characters like Bob Wilson and Franco Bash. There are also screenshots showcasing the gameplay and these new features in action. It seems like they're really emphasizing the evolution of the fighting system and the enhanced combo possibilities in this new Fatal Fury game. This page showcases the exciting new Neo Geo game, Samurai Spirits, New Chapter Swordsman Legend Weapon Fighting Book. Questioning if a SEGA Saturn version is on the horizon. It's touted as the latest in the super cool, serious sword fighting series that represents SNK. The page details the controls, which use 3 slash buttons, along with combinations for various attacks and defensive moves, including a rage gauge. It highlights a new feature called Sword Quality Selection, where you can choose between 2 fighting styles, Shura and Resetsu, impacting your moves and gameplay approach. There's a roster of characters displayed, featuring series veterans like Haomaru, Nakoru, and Galford, alongside new faces. Interestingly, the page also promotes a separate title, Samurai Spirits Bushido Biography, described as an RPG for the Neo Geo CD, slated for release in spring of '96. This RPG version boasts a dual command system, and seems to offer a different take on the Samurai Spirits world. It shows in-game screenshots hinting at the RPG gameplay.
This page continues the focus on Neo Geo and announces cross-license information. There's an interview with Emoto Takeshi from Sync's PR department, who is eager for Saturn users to experience the fun of Neo Geo games. He emphasizes that while Neo Geo games might seem simple to pick up and play, they offer deep gameplay and rewarding mastery of complex moves. He highlights the impressive graphics and animation quality as a key appeal, especially for fans who appreciate visual fidelity, and notes that fighting games are popular even among female players. The page also announces a Satron-sponsored King of Fighters 95 tournament at the Koyo Kogyo Festival, featuring a Beep Neo Geo team. A VHS tape of the event is advertised for sale. Further down, there's a cross-license commemoration section announcing a reader questionnaire and the upcoming launch of an SNK page in the magazine. They're asking readers about their Neo Geo hardware ownership, which Neo Geo titles they'd like to see on Saturn, desired features for Saturn ports, and favorite characters. Respondents have a chance to win a Kioske poster, and the deadline to participate is November 30th. Finally, the page announces the revival of an SNK-focused section, reminiscent of the Neo Geo corner from the old Beep Mega Drive magazine. This new page, titled SNK World 95, promises to cover new Neo Geo game information, music, events, reader submissions, and requests for Saturn ports, encouraging both SNK and Neo Geo fans to check it out. This page is a special report about the upcoming SEGA Saturn game Battle Arena Toshinden S, scheduled for release on November 24th for 5,800 yen. The page highlights that the character animations and visual scenes are complete, showcasing screenshots of the game in action, featuring characters and fighting gameplay. It mentions that each character will have their own opening cinematic to introduce their background and story in CG, adding depth to the game. The article suggests that players who enjoyed the previous game will find this one easy to get into, implying a smooth transition and familiar gameplay. It emphasizes the addition of original graphics and voice acting for pre-battle conversations, deepening the story and relationships between characters in story mode. The page also lists game modes, such as 1P, VS, story mode, and com battles, indicating a variety of ways to play. The reviewer's comment, as expected, suggests a positive outlook on the game, indicating that the quality of the character animation and graphics meets or exceeds expectations. Overall, the page is promoting Battle Arena to Shinden S as a visually impressive and engaging fighting game for the Sega Saturn, with enhanced story elements and character-specific content.
This page unveils the character Cupido for the upcoming Sega Saturn title Battle Arena to Shinden S. Cupido is described as a scarlet beautiful warrior, and the page showcases their design with in-game screenshots, including one where they are on the losing side exclaiming, "I am Cupido." We also get to see concept art that gives a closer look at Cupido's appearance. According to comments on the page, Cupido was initially conceived as a male character, but later changed to female for story reasons, which was apparently quite a surprise to the developers. It's mentioned that Cupido is central to the Fighting God Legend storyline within the game, and is designed to have a neutral image. Intriguingly, the developers hint that Cupido is female but lives as a male, implying a complex and interesting backstory that will be further explored in Battle Arena to Shinden status. It sounds like Cupido will be a key figure in the game's narrative, building upon the story mode elements discussed on the previous page. This page is a basic training guide for Mondo style in the game Fighting God Legend OS, which we know is Battle Arena to Shinden GIS. It's laying out the foundational combat techniques you'll need to master. The page covers 4 key areas: dash, guard, side roll, and jump attacks, explaining how each works and their strategic uses in battle. For dashing, it emphasizes using it to close distance quickly and aggressively. They warn about overusing dash as you become vulnerable at the end of it. Guarding is straightforward, explaining its use against attacks and setting up counterattacks, suggesting to utilize strong kicks and special moves after a successful guard. Side roll is presented as a way to evade attacks by moving to the background, useful for dodging projectiles and repositioning, especially if you're cornered. Finally, jump attacks are covered for offensive options from above, highlighting the importance of timing and suggesting to use long-reach attacks on the way down and to be mindful of counterattacks when landing. Each section is illustrated with in-game screenshots demonstrating these techniques in action, clearly aimed at helping players grasp the fundamental moves in Battle Arena to Shinden S. This SATURN Magazine page spotlights Ellis, a 16-year-old character in Battle Arena to Shinden S on the Sega Saturn, who is competing in the Fighting God tournament. The article highlights Chronicle Mode, which lets players understand character backstories through battles. The page details strategies for 3 matches. Against Mondo, a mysterious elder, Ellis should utilize her speed and close-range attacks, with French Kiss as a finishing move. Facing Sophia, described as aggressive, Ellis should use her special move, Stardust Knight, when in trouble. Finally, against Langer, a strong and kind character, players need to be serious to win, despite Langer's wonderful qualities and potentially painful attacks. Screenshots of the battles are included, illustrating the recommended tactics. This page continues the breakdown of the Chronicle mode in Battle Arena to Shinden S. It picks up from round 4, where Ellis faces Kane's. The reviewer playfully notes Kane's cool character design, especially his second-player color scheme, but warns players not to be fooled by his looks. They suggest using Ellis's Hell's Inferno technique and recommend using French Kiss as a finishing move. Next up is round 5 against Gaia. The text mentions Gaia finally showing his true form and hints at a connection to Ellis's father, suggesting some backstory is revealed here. The reviewer advises players to savor the taste of Gaia's solar window attack, implying it's a key move to watch out for and perhaps counter. The final battle highlighted on this page is round 6 against Sho. The reviewer excitedly proclaims Gaia has been defeated and mentions that Sho is the champion of the previous Godfist tournament
emphasizing his strength. They point out Sho's signature move is the soaring sky flash and highlight his powerful techniques. The overall tone suggests these are increasingly challenging fights in Chronicle mode, requiring players to use strategic moves to progress. Earth Adventurer, a large-scale RPG slated for spring 1996, 35% complete, promises detailed world-building and orthodox gameplay. The game features character designs by Eiji Yano, and stars Henry, a nobleman facing execution, and Corin, a princess who alters his destiny. Their meeting kicks off a grand narrative. A developer interview reveals the team is prioritizing authenticity, with music directed by Mikiyasu Sanuki, who's composing approximately 80 tracks. The developers aim for a compelling protagonist, and explain the title refers to exploration across two worlds, emphasizing atmosphere. Influenced by SEGA games but striving for a unique style, Earth Adventurer aims to immerse players in a rich world and story.
The pictured interviewer is Mr.
Masanobu Endo, of Game Studio, known for Xevious and The Tower of Druaga. This page reveals new characters for the upcoming RPG Earth Adventurer. We get introductions to Undine, a beautiful and mysterious woman who guides the protagonist, and Segoe, a rather imposing and potentially menacing nobleman involved in political affairs. The page also features screenshots showcasing the game's 3D environments and combat. We can see the protagonist engaging in battle with enemies in what appears to be dungeon settings. There's a developer interview section where they discuss the game's world, aiming for a different atmosphere than typical main character-driven stories. They talk about gameplay balance, wanting to offer freedom but also guiding players, like a journey on rails that feels open. The developers mention wanting players to feel immersed in the RPG world and not get lost with too much freedom, like in some RPGs where you get overwhelmed by options after getting a vehicle. They aim to create a compelling experience by focusing on story, music, and system design. Mr. Shibata from Game Studio concludes by expressing his confidence that the final game will be polished and enjoyable. This page is a special report on Sakura Wars for the SEGA Saturn. It's presented as a special project and boasts 75% completion. The page prominently features Sakura Shinguchi, the main heroine, in a dynamic pose wielding her sword. The text reveals that Sakura Wars is planned for release in spring of '96 and is a dramatic adventure game. It's set in Taisho-era Tokyo and focuses on a secret combat review composed of young women who protect the imperial capital. The developers, including names like OHJI Hiroi and Tanaka Kuhei, known for their strong work, aim for a multifaceted project with fully orchestrated music and various other media expansions planned. We also get an introduction to the Kubu, which are described as super-secret weapons of the Imperial Army, developed from 1913 onwards. These are steam-powered humanoid robots based on earlier technology, and they are the primary weapon of the Imperial Combat Review. The page shows wireframe blueprints of the Kubu from front, side, and top views, giving a detailed look at their design. It sounds like the game will heavily feature these mecha and the heroic women who pilot them. A special report on Sakura Wars details the Flower Division, led by Commander Ayame Fujieda, preparing for launch. The fully CG Furious opening sequence depicts the team's Kubu units rising from a Ginza hangar through cherry blossoms. Character portraits of the 6 members are shown: Sakura Shinguchi, Sumira Kanzaki, Maria Tachibana, Iris Chatan, Kana Kirishima, and Ayame Fujieda, along with their voice actors. The report highlights Fujieda's importance and the involvement of popular voice actors.
The article also lists theme songs like Ba and Ah, and mentions the inclusion of karaoke. Songs are planned for release on SEGA karaoke systems, encouraging players to learn them and participate as part of the Imperial Opera Troupe.
This page is a special report on the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, G-Bockers, from Riverhill Soft, a 3D versus shooting game. The reviewer seems intrigued by the game's title and concept of 3D battle, involving AI robots called Strikers, who fight against corrupted AI from the future. The report details the game's story where players control G-Bockers to stop rogue AI in different dimensions. It mentions different ranks of criminals and weapon customization, implying strategic gameplay. The weapon view section seems to highlight the game's perspective and weapon selection. Screenshots showcase gameplay, including a 1P versus com mode and a 1P vs 2P mode. The visuals look like a top-down perspective, with 3D environments and character sprites. The game seems to offer various camera angles and control options. The reviewer suggests the game is designed for strategic play and emphasizes understanding enemy AI and stage layouts for victory. The game is announced as 50% complete and scheduled for release in spring '96 at an unconfirmed price, aiming for all ages and featuring 2-player battles. This page offers a deeper dive into the 3D battle game G-Bockers. It highlights the core gameplay mechanics and introduces the various characters you can play as, known as strikers. The page showcases 8 unique strikers, with names like Number 1 Pal, Number 2 Fisher, Number 3 Daunton, Number 4 Mugen, Number 5 Ray, Number 6 Ein, Number 7 Kid, and Number 8 Caddy. It then breaks down the essential combat features, starting with lock-on, which lets you target enemies.
Power is crucial, as weapons consume it, demanding strategic usage.
The page also details special weapons, like the Super Bomb and Magna Shot, with their respective command inputs, hinting at more complex moves. Mind Ball and the Piori phenomenon are also touched upon, with Piori describing a stun effect after taking damage. Gameplay screenshots throughout the page visually demonstrate these mechanics and special weapons in action, giving you a clear idea of how battles unfold in G-Bockers. The overall impression is that the game is fast-paced and strategic, requiring players to master weapon usage and power management to succeed in 3D combat arenas. This page is all about World Series Baseball '96, focusing on the visual and system aspects that make it a Major League experience. The game is praised for bringing the excitement and realism of Major League Baseball to the SEGA Saturn, emphasizing its fully polygonal graphics. One highlight is the Smart system, which makes the game enjoyable even for beginners. Features like a ball marker to show where a ball will land, and automatic fielding options are mentioned as user-friendly elements. The game also boasts smooth graphics, with polygon rendering that creates a fluid visual experience, especially during gameplay. Dynamic camera angles are used to enhance the viewing experience of the field and player movements. Camera positions are a key feature, offering 4 different viewpoints to follow the ball from various angles after a hit, offering a cinematic chase view. Finally, the page mentions rich mode variations, with a variety of game modes. Besides standard modes like exhibition games and pennant races, you can also enjoy playoffs, an all-star game, and even a home run derby. A database mode is also included, letting players access player statistics from the '94 season. The page seems to be really impressed with the game's depth and presentation. This page is a special report introducing B Ultraman Link, a competitive puzzle game for the Sega Saturn featuring Ultraman. The game is described as a falling block puzzle game, but with a twist. It seems to move away from simple matching puzzles and incorporates strategic elements with Madu parts, or evil parts. The core gameplay involves connecting 3 or more parts of the same color to make them disappear. A key element is the Madu parts, which seems to hinder the opponent. The page highlights different Hisatsu Waza, or special moves, that can be triggered based on combos and chains. And these moves are themed around Ultraman characters like Baltan and Kanegon. The game is designed for 1 or 2 players and promises intense battles. It emphasizes strategic depth beyond just clearing blocks, hinting at using special moves and understanding opponents' strategies. There are screenshots showing gameplay with Ultraman characters and different game scenarios like Baltan's scissors and Kanegon's mouth, which seem to be special attacks. The page also mentions a roster of 10 playable characters, indicating variety and depth in character selection. It concludes by emphasizing the diverse strategies and battles possible in B Ultraman Link, thanks to the combination of puzzle gameplay, special moves, and Ultraman characters. This page is a special report on Kyukyoku Muteki Ginga Saikyo Otoko, which translates to Ultimate Invincible Galaxy Strongest Man, a shooting game for the Sega Saturn. The tagline says, "Defeat the galaxy's strongest man with shooting." It seems to be a rather unusual and humorous game featuring bodybuilders. The page introduces the game's concept and some of the key people involved, including the strongest PR man and the director, both with quirky nicknames like Angel-like Hiroaki and Ziviadan Taiji. There are interview snippets from the developers, discussing the game's planning and concept, describing it as pure evil humor, and emphasizing the use of real bodybuilders. They mention characters like Azadon and Samson, who are apparently in-game characters based on bodybuilders,
and the gameplay is described as a scrolling shooting game. The developers highlight that the game will be visually and orally impressive, boasting great visuals and sound. They even mention famous voice actors and musicians working on the game, suggesting a high production value despite its bizarre premise. The overall tone suggests a game filled with humor and impact, promising a unique and over-the-top experience for Saturn players. This page shines a spotlight on two upcoming strategy titles for the Sega Saturn. First up is Supreme Commander's Judgment 2, a grand-scale simulation of the Pacific War, reaching 50% completion and slated for release in January '96. This game promises massive naval battles across a huge map stretching from India to Washington, D.C., letting you command over 120 types of warships, including battleships, carriers, and submarines. It emphasizes strategic depth and real-time tactical battles, and boasts a spectacular opening movie with CG anime. The second game featured is Gotha 2 Knights of the Sky, a sequel to Gotha Ismailia Senryoku. This one is a futuristic air combat simulation at 60% completion, expected in December. It builds on the original, with enhanced graphics, incorporating CG cutscenes, and branching storylines to add depth. Interestingly, it also highlights the voice acting cast, featuring well-known voice talents like Kanemaru Junichi, suggesting a focus on character and narrative alongside the strategic gameplay. There's even a photo of the voice actors, emphasizing the game's production values. Both games seem to be aiming for a more mature and strategic experience on the Saturn. Kyan Kyan Bunny Premiere, a beautiful girl adventure game, is coming to the Sega Saturn. This installment features Swati as the heroine in a school setting and is the fourth game in the series. Players navigate romantic comedy scenarios in a story involving the 7 lucky gods, impacting the narrative through their choices across 3 chapters. The Saturn version boasts significant enhancements over the PC release, including improved graphics with 32,000 colors, new opening and ending anime sequences, and exclusive scenarios. The game promises a richer experience for fans, with original endings and additional surprises, making it a must-buy. Screenshots showcase polished visuals, including character interactions and scenes. This page compiles reader submissions. Navigator Panna opens with a birthday joke tied to Saturn's release. One reader details a bizarre robbery, where only their dirty underwear was stolen while absorbed in their Saturn. Another requests a section dedicated to noble bachelor characters from adult manga. A third recounts a nostalgic experience at a game center playing and purchasing D, or D's Diner Table, for the Saturn. One shares an embarrassing story about misinterpreting software and requesting the Baseball 95 special. Another reader questions the etiquette of using a female save file name. Finally, a reader describes solo gaming due to family commitments and their mother's puzzle game hobby. A concluding request humorously asks for a drawing of Barsha 5 Kurai to be made real with a pleasant smell. The Konkun Gaku Gaku article explores the Sega Saturn's RPG landscape, discussing whether role-playing can surpass traditional RPGs. Readers express a desire for emotionally engaging stories, rather than just visually impressive games. One section highlights reader feedback, with enthusiasts praising the Saturn's gaming library, particularly action games, and the fulfillment of childhood dreams. The article also examines the console's cartridge slot, viewing it as a valuable asset for future expansion, potentially including DVD capabilities and enhanced interactive experiences. Finally, the piece addresses censorship, specifically the impact of content ratings on creative expression, advocating for a balanced approach that avoids stifling artistic vision. This Sega Saturn Focus section features reader feedback and various themed submissions. Readers discuss Sega Saturn RPGs like Shining Wisdom and Dark Savior, hoping for more titles, and comparing Sega to Squaresoft. One humorously criticizes the console's overabundance of shooting games. A comic strip depicts Saturn gaming. The My Saturn section showcases reader content under themes: video CD compatibility, high-risk, high-return Saturn, unique Saturn descriptions, Vidal Saturn, praise, IIDE Saturn, sports day poses, nice pose Saturn, and humorous content, Sumo no Okeiko. A reader humorously desires the essence of Graduation M on the Saturn, worried about censorship. Wisdom of Game Life provides a rapid-fire technique for Shining Wisdom, while Scratch Diary features a cartoon related to the nice pose Saturn theme. This page is the Gallery of Saturn, showcasing reader-submitted artwork and comments. There's a wide range of fan art on display, starting with a space shooter piece called Hot-Blooded Parent and Child, featuring cool spaceship designs. Then, a layer section, which we know internationally as gunlock artwork, with someone commenting on how much they enjoy shooting games. Following that, a ninja drawing related to treasure hunters and likely Guardian heroes, alongside another Guardian Heroes themed submission with a military-style image. There's fan art for Thunder Force V, and another interesting one with a crying anime girl, with a slightly strange comment mentioning washing machines. Princess Maker 2 gets a shout-out with a couple of submissions, one focusing on the game's ending. Dragon Force is also represented with a drawing highlighting its graphics. Moving on, we see some more unusual submissions, like a wooden robot and a stick figure character, showcasing creative interpretations of game characters. Lastly, there are a few small humorous comic strips at the bottom, adding a light-hearted touch to the page. Overall, it's a great snapshot of reader creativity and their passion for Sega Saturn games, with a good mix of fan art dedicated to popular titles and some more quirky and personal pieces. This page showcases reader contributions centered around the Sega Saturn. It features anecdotes like Impertinent Wife and Reserves, about a son's love for the console, and Impertinent Couple, with humorous Saturn-related gifts. Other sections include Wooden Game Man for reader stories, and Japan's Most Unfortunate Guy for unlucky gamers. Anticipation for Super Real Mahjong P2 and P2i Remix is high. Recurring themes like Ring of Saturn People and Impertinent Wife and Reserves highlight popular content. Readers voice hopes for more game ports and share life advice through gaming in Game and Life Wisdom. Other sections include Frank Opinions, an art gallery seeking black ink illustrations, submission guidelines for prizes, quick reader thoughts, and a request for cool photos in nice pose. The page demonstrates strong community engagement around the Sega Saturn. This page focuses on promoting the Sega Saturn. The Warp It RP section collects reader contributions. An interview with Bunky Kono from Acclaim Japan discusses converting people to the Saturn religion, his renewed enthusiasm, and hints at future game releases, including Acclaim Classics. Kono urges readers to send postcards supporting Saturn ports. Ino Kenji's Evangelism Report humorously assesses the creation of quality Saturn software, while acknowledging his enjoyment of even non-Saturn games. Shuto Hideki's D-Anime News highlights the pressure of Saturn development amidst competition from soccer games. Finally, Saturn Evangelism Headquarters Communication recruits believers and seeks photo submissions demonstrating faith in the Saturn, promising membership cards, and referencing a previous project. They are seeking support from readers. This page is all about how much Sexy Hyde, the keyboardist from the band Blow, loves games. He's featured in this installment of the magazine and talks about his passion. He mentions that he's been into games since he was a kid and still plays them a lot, especially console games at home. He reminisces about playing games like Hisenkyo Alien, stating it's a simple but addictive game like cockroach extermination in a kitchen. He talks about how he's been playing games on Mac and 98 computers for work, using synthesizers and computers for his music production. He also mentions enjoying games during breaks, especially After 5 and indoor section type games, maybe referring to office-themed or casual games. It's a bit vague. He really enjoys games where you can play with two players, emphasizing the fun of playing cooperative games like Hisenkyo Alien with friends. He says he used to go to game centers to play with friends and create friendships. In the Blow News section, it mentions Blow are back with new releases, including their fourth album, Breathless, and a single called Success Hurry Up CF Song. It seems they're quite active in the music scene, alongside their love for video games. Sexy Hyde ends by jokingly saying he has night patrols in the city at night, signing off as Sexy Hyde. This page is a strategy guide for a game called World Advanced Strategy, focusing on a difficult scenario from the German campaign called Battle of Britain. The article emphasizes that the key to victory is mastering the use of 88mm anti-aircraft guns. It's designed to help players achieve a major victory in this challenging map. The guide outlines the victory conditions. A major victory is achieved by destroying all enemy command posts within 20 turns. A regular victory by destroying the British 10th and 11th Group command posts. And defeat occurs if your own command post is destroyed. Thus, The map is briefly shown and the article points out important units to consider, such as the German Leader base and 3-inch A guns, and British Hurricane II and Spitfire versus fighters. It seems like a detailed strategy piece aimed at helping players overcome a particularly tough challenge in this wargame, suggesting it's a game for hardcore strategy enthusiasts.
This page showcases the newest maps for World Advanced Strategy, offering one-point strategy tips and branching route introductions for both the Great Japan Empire and German Third Reich campaigns. You can see flowcharts for each, outlining scenarios with names like Pearl Harbor, Midway, Guadalcanal, Mariana Sea Battle, Lake Gulf and Okinawa for Japan and France, Stalingrad, Kharkov, Normandy, Falaise Pocket, Ardennes, and Berlin for Germany. Diving into scenario specifics, there's a breakdown of the Okinawa mainland defense battle. This map is playable after a major victory in the previous scenario and focuses on defense, suggesting you'll need to establish strong defensive lines, and if certain conditions are met, even the Yamato battleship might appear. Then there's the Battle of the Ardennes scenario, described as Germany's last organized large-scale counteroffensive. It emphasizes the importance of weather conditions, terrain, and leveraging defensive advantages in the forested landscape for a successful defense. Finally, in the section called Minor Countries Arms Illustrated Book 2, it highlights French military equipment. It features the D.520 fighter, lauded as the best French fighter aircraft used extensively before the German invasion, the Leo 451 bomber, a fast and important bomber for the French, the Renault R-35 light tank, designed for infantry support, and the Somua S-35 medium tank, the standard French medium tank of the time. The page provides some stats for these units, focusing on their in-game performance. It seems like this section is designed to introduce players to the capabilities of less common units in the game.
This page continues the look into World Advanced Strategy, showcasing charts detailing the evolution of Japanese and German military equipment, both land and air forces. Think of it as a tech tree, visually outlining how units can be upgraded and improved during the game campaigns. For the Great Japan Empire, you see paths for light tanks progressing from Type 94 to Type 95 and Type 98, medium tanks evolving from Type 89 to Type 97, and eventually leading to the Type 1 Chihei. There's also a branch for self-propelled artillery and mechanized infantry. The Air Force section covers fighters like the Zero, going through different models like the Type 21, 32, 22, and 52. It also shows the development of bombers like the G-4 Betty and the Ki-67 Hiryu. Similarly, for the German Third Reich, the Land Forces chart tracks panzer developments from PSW 222 to Panzer IV variants, including self-propelled guns like the Wespe and Nashorn. The Air Force section illustrates the evolution of iconic planes like the Bf-109, He-111, Ju-87 Stuka, and FW-190, showing different model upgrades across the board. Essentially, this page is giving players a clear visual guide to the technological progression within World Advanced Strategy, helping them understand how their units can be upgraded and what to aim for in their campaigns. This page continues the deep dive into World Advanced Strategy, presenting an interview with the game's creator, Mr. Hiroshi Hinata from Sega's Consumer Software Development R&D department. He talks about the positive reception of the game from both players and staff, and the team's enjoyment of developing simulation games. He mentions they are already planning the next installment, aiming for an even more engaging experience that helps players understand history through gameplay. The page then focuses on a gameplay mechanic called sneaking transport, or Nezumi transport, using Japanese landing crafts and submarines. It explains that while Japanese submarines in the game can't operate on land, they, along with landing craft, can be used to transport supplies. This is highlighted as a unique feature for the Japanese forces. The article clarifies that this Nezumi transport is a way to represent the rapid transport of supplies, especially in scenarios like Guadalcanal, where Japan struggled with logistics. There are screenshots showcasing this gameplay element, displaying units like Day's sneaking transport, Day's submarine transport, and Nezumi transport itself. The tables show the stats for these transport units, including movement range, fuel, and attack power. Finally, the page includes a section encouraging readers to submit their WA-Great strategy-related content, like unit illustrations, map strategies, or questions. The next page is a high-energy announcement for Polygon Junkie Volume 6.
It's shouting out to all the warriors out there that Polygon Junkie is happening again. This time, it's Polygon Junkie 3 on December 26th at On Air East, running all night from 3 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next day. They are promising a wild night of DJ sets and gameplay, focusing on Sega's Kansei, which sounds like they're highlighting games with a strong Sega vibe and style. They even mention a projection system for showing Sega's cool visuals in games. It's a real party for Sega fans who love polygon graphics and techno music. Here, there's also a section called Velocity Jamboree Chapter 6 by Hal. He's talking about how he recently played a mahjong game for 30,000 yen and lost it all. He then shifts to discussing movies, specifically Ghost in the Shell, saying that the manga's depth is amazing.
He mentions working on a video clip with Sugo Saburo based on it. Hal then talks about how the real image film industry is dying, and that anime is where it's at. He also mentions Battle Traber and how boring recent games are, preferring older titles with more soul. He feels recent games are just shallow and lack real depth. This page presents a collection of diary entries and columns. Shoji Mayfield's DJ Diary boasts about his energetic sets, the upcoming Polygon Junkie event, and his new track Heartbreak, while humorously criticizing the modern obsession with screens. Ikebukuro Sara's Barcha Crash Volume 6 recounts a comical hospital stay highlighting confusing medical instructions and a fun game. Kanbare, Shintaro Ninja-kun. Jun-san's 3-bedroom trip report details an obsession with India's affordability, comparing costs and savoring the delicious food. Matamata Moru's column covers horse racing, betting at various tracks, and playing the High Rider game. Shoji's diary continues, discussing the popular Polygon Junkie event and self-produced merchandise. The editor, Shibutani Yoichi, reflects on the rise of remote collaboration, acknowledging increased time spent at home, utilizing video conferencing, and playfully mentioning a project, virtual BART talent, and humorous remarks about beautiful female English teachers. This article from Nude Nahard explains RAM, random access memory, as essential for computer data access, particularly in gaming. RAM is volatile, requiring power to retain data, unlike ROM. It details 2 RAM types: SRAM, static RAM, which is faster and uses flip-flops, making it less power-intensive, but also more complex and expensive. DRAM, dynamic RAM, uses transistors and capacitors, is cheaper and simpler, but needs constant refresh operation due to capacitor charge leakage. The article includes a diagram illustrating memory access using address and data buses. It explains how addresses locate data within a matrix, utilizing multiplexed addressing to save pins. Finally, it discusses RAM's role in game consoles, noting the shift to faster RAM. Examples are given, showing RAM's importance, including the Saturn's use of RAM in the 70 to 15 nanosecond range. The article also has a small section, Dr. K's Sum Every Day, possibly discussing related topics. This page delves deeper into the types of RAM used in consoles from the Famicom to the PlayStation, expanding on the RAM explanation from the previous page. It presents a helpful table outlining the RAM usage list up to PlayStation, detailing the type and amount of RAM used for work memory, video RAM, and sound RAM in consoles like the Famicom, PC Engine, TurboGrafx-16, Mega Drive, Genesis, Super Famicom, Super Nintendo, SEGA Saturn, and PlayStation. The article then discusses the merits and demerits of SRAM, noting its speed and ease of use, but also its higher cost compared to DRAM. It moves on to synchronous DRAM, explaining its faster operation and how it handles memory access in bursts, making it well suited for high-speed systems. Pseudo-SRAM is also mentioned, positioned as a compromise combining the ease of use of SRAM with the density and cost benefits of DRAM. VRAM, or video RAM, is described as specialized RAM optimized for image processing, specifically used as frame buffers and for graphics rendering. Finally, it touches upon rambus memory, highlighting its adoption in the Nintendo 64 for graphics memory, emphasizing its very high speed at 250 MHz and wide data bandwidth, though it mentions some drawbacks like longer random access times. The article concludes by saying that the Nintendo 64's RAM choice is a very interesting topic. This article reviews several strip mahjong games available on the Sega Saturn up to October 1995. Titled Junshi, Suchipai Special offers a standard, well-presented experience with voice acting. Super Real Mahjong C Versus stands out for its smooth animation and impressive strip scenes. Title Mahjong Final Romance 2, a port of an arcade title, provides a good experience despite slight downgrades. Mahjong Seaside Story uses polygon models and cup removal, emphasizing realism. Magical Strip Arabiho Poemi offers a unique anime fantasy theme with instant tech reveals. Finally, Exciting Strip Paradise 2 features a date mode with full-screen animated strip scenes and good production value. The reviews cover gameplay, visual quality, and the nature of the strip content, providing a snapshot of the genre on the Saturn. This document explores the motivations behind the creation of strip mahjong games from the perspective of various company departments. The primary purpose is to fulfill male user desires, particularly the appeal of seeing characters strip after winning. The target audience is described as healthy men, with a particular interest from older players seeking erotic content. Developers focus on incorporating elements like voice acting and electronic eroticism to meet player expectations. Recognizing the importance of balancing strip scenes with engaging gameplay, solid mahjong gameplay is deemed crucial. Otherwise, the strip elements are rendered pointless. The discussion touches on the perceived obscenity of the content, with some arguing its harmlessness compared to violence in other games. The document concludes by questioning the future of strip mahjong on the Sega Saturn, noting the genre's waning novelty but persistent appeal, and hints at an ongoing contest for related artwork. This page is titled Open Up! Information Treasure Box, and explores the arrival of the Internet age, particularly in relation to gaming consoles like the Saturn. The author reflects on past expectations of consoles becoming home information terminals, noting that it hasn't quite happened yet, but the situation is changing. There's a section discussing computer mania of motorcycle riders, reflecting on how people who were initially into motorcycles transitioned to computers. The text muses on the evolving perception of those who embrace technology, and the blurring lines between hobbies and practicality. Another section talks about the walls of price and language, questioning the cost and language barriers associated with the Internet. It mentions the development of Internet adapters for the Saturn, highlighting Sega and Nissan as companies involved in Internet-related ventures, showcased with screenshots of their respective homepages. The article seems optimistic about the future of Internet connectivity for home consoles, suggesting that it's becoming more accessible and affordable, hinting at potential future developments and services. The Box 10 section introduces Osawa Kazutoshi, born in 1958 and a graduate of Oklahoma State University with a degree in mechanical engineering. He's described as being involved in software development since the early days of personal computers, mentioning his work in software houses like Merge and Computer Graphics Production Studio BC, and his freelance work related to Macintosh technical writing and multimedia. He's also involved in seminars and presentations, and currently uses Power Macintosh and Macintosh 7 alongside a Newton message pad and 3Do. The next page appears to be a sales page for Sega Saturn, Mega Drive, and Gear games and accessories. It's titled Sega Saturn Special Prices and highlights a sale on both the standard Saturn and the V-Saturn consoles. There's a section called New Corner Flying Up, which seems to list various Saturn games with dates and prices. Many games are mentioned, such as Fighters, Megamix, Bug, Sonic R, and Christmas Nights into Dreams. It looks like a list of new game releases or featured titles available for purchase. Then there are sections dedicated to Mega Drive and Game Gear software and accessories. These sections seem to list various games and peripherals with their prices, spanning a wide range of titles. For the Mega Drive, games like Echo the Dolphin, Streets of Rage 2, Shining Force 2, and Golden Axe are listed. Game Gear titles mentioned include Sonic Chaos, Nazo Puyo 2, and GG Shinobi. Accessory sections list various add-ons and cables for both consoles. It's essentially a catalog page offering a wide selection of games and hardware for Sega's older and current consoles at the time. The next page is a new soft schedule showcasing upcoming games for the Sega Saturn. It's structured like a release calendar, listing games month by month from September through to 95 New Year. For September, titles like Breakthrough, Layer Section, and World Advanced War Iron Commander's Iron Wings are listed. October sees titles such as Virtual Open Tennis, Princess Maker 2, and American Horizontal Breakout Craze. November includes Gaiku 10 Idea
and Virtual Bart CG Portrait Series, along with Battle Command and War Chess. December features Virtua Fighter CG Portrait Series, Decmo's Super Bowl, and Aaron in the Dark 2. The schedule continues into the new year, with games like Zork 1 in February, Air Adventurer in March, and then moves into seasonal categories like Autumn, Winter, 95 Year End, and 95 New Year, highlighting titles such as Quo Vadis, X-Men Children of the Atom, Gotha 2, and Street Fighter Zero. The page lists the game titles, their prices, developers, genres, and compatible peripherals, such as mouse or joysticks. It's a detailed preview of the SEGA Saturn's upcoming game releases schedule. This page continues the new soft schedule, giving us a look at upcoming SEGA Saturn, Mega Drive, and Game Gear titles. For the Saturn, we're seeing titles planned from Spring '96 all the way into '97. Spring '96 is packed with big names like Sakura Wars, Neon Genesis, Evangelion, Dragon Force, and Lunar. We can also expect The Seventh Guest 2, The 11th Hour, and Earthworm Jim 2.
Summer '96 highlights Daikaiju Monogatari and Ragnarok Century. Moving into '96 year-end and '97, there's Success Story, Cotton 2, Night Striker S, and Guardian Force. Genres are all over the map, from adventure and RPGs to strategy and shooting titles, even some simulation and etc. genres in there. Mouse and tap controller support is also noted for some titles. The Mega Drive section is smaller and focuses on December releases, with games like Puyo Puyo, Surgical Strike, and Earthworm Jim. There are also RPGs and adventure games listed, and some titles mentioning Mega CD compatibility. Finally, the Game Gear gets some love, with titles dropping in November and December. We have Sonic Labyrinth, J.League Soccer Dream 11, a Magical Tale story game, Pocket Princess, and even Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. There is also Super Momotaro Dentetsu 2, Lunar, Walking School Garden, and Baku Baku Animal listed. Genres range from action and sports to RPGs and puzzle games. It's great to see a mix of titles coming to all of Sega's platforms at the time. Sega is pushing Virtua Fighter 2 Vir.F for the year-end sales battle. Capcom is releasing X-Men vs. Street Fighter on November 22nd. SNK highlights King of Fighters 95 and Art of Fighting 3 coming to Saturn. Acclaim Japan announces Virtual Photo Studio. Kikaku Communications is developing a fantasy adventure game. Electronic Arts Victor is releasing Theme Park. 9003 Inc. introduces Aquazone, a virtual pet game. Grams is bringing the CG movie adventure Quo Vadis. Sammy Industry is working on Practical Pachinko SP. Jaleco is releasing Burning Pro Baseball. Hudson is promoting several titles, including Doomsday and Bomberman Saturn. Bandai Visual is releasing Return to Zork. Banpresto is releasing Northern Alps in December. Victor Entertainment is releasing the Hyper Golf Devils course for the Saturn's anniversary. Yoshimoto Kogyo is releasing Explosion. All Yoshimoto Quiz King Decision Battle DX12 on January 1st. The Saturn Magazine editorial check section teases upcoming releases and a return match concept. This page highlights Creative Human and mentions the popular X-Men arcade game making its way to Saturn. There's a focus on upcoming game releases, with Capcom's X-Men vs. Street Fighter for 2 players launching on November 22nd, priced at 5,220 yen, alongside titles like F1 Live Information, Rayman, and NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Sega's Virtua Cop, set for 2-player action, is set to release on November 24th for 7,020 yen. Ida Tenka S is already available in stores, and there's a special pre-order price of 5,220 yen for King the Spirits. For Saturn fans looking for a deal, there's a super value set containing Virtua Fighter and Virtua Fighter Remix for 31,980 yen, but it's limited to only 15 units. The page also teases Super Real Mahjong P7 and Character Graph Fight, and features ads for Virtua Fighter CG Portrait of Akira and Pei for 1,150 yen each, and 3 RAD for 5,980 yen. Finally, there are lists for this month's special prices on Mega Drive and Mega CD games, plus parts and hardware for the Saturn, all available through mail order.
The next page provides instructions on how to fill out an included questionnaire postcard. It shows examples of good and bad answer entries, emphasizing using a black pen or pencil and writing clearly within the boxes. There are lists of hardware and software for selection in the survey. The hardware list includes SEGA Saturn, HI Saturn, Mega Drive, Super 32X, PlayStation, 3DO, PCFX, Super Famicom, PC Engine Series, and Neo Geo. The software list is extensive, featuring a huge variety of games, many of which are RPGs, action games, and fighting games. Some examples from the list include Idol Janshi Suchi Pai 2, Aquazone for Sega Saturn, Wizard's Harmony, Wing Commander 2, Earthworm Jim, Chaos Control, Guardian Heroes, Gunbird, Elevator Action Returns, Dungeons & Dragons, Shadow over Mystara, translated from Tower of Doom, Zork 1, and many more titles. The questionnaire itself asks about your gender, age, school/occupation, ownership of Sega Saturn software, frequently read computer game magazines, like Famitsu and Famimaga Bros., and opinions on the current issue of the magazine. Questions also delve into reader interest in articles, hardware ownership, and desired software. It encourages readers to list up to 8 articles they found interesting or not interesting from the current issue, and to list up to 8 pieces of hardware they own or plan to buy. Finally, it asks for up to 5 software titles readers are interested in buying in the future. The SEGA Saturn Magazine's 1995 Grand Prix Awards, in their inaugural year, honored the best Saturn games based on reader votes. Readers could vote across 17 categories, with the Best Game Award recognizing the most outstanding title from the initial 120 releases, considering completion, impact, and value. Key categories highlighted included Shooting Game Award, showcasing a diverse and high-quality selection from various subgenres like Layer Section and Galaxy Force 2. The RPG Award acknowledged high-quality, albeit fewer, RPGs, with examples like Lunar, The Silver Star, and Riglord Saga. Finally, the Action Game Award featured a broad range of games, including Virtua Fighter Remix and X-Men, with the editors anticipating a competitive race between Sega and third-party titles. The awards were ultimately determined by reader votes. The SEGA Saturn Magazine Grand Prix Awards cover several game categories. Simulation includes war and management games. Sports encompasses various sports titles, including racing and golf games. Adventure focuses on story-driven experiences, highlighting games like Myst and D. Other genre games is a diverse category for titles like puzzle games, database software, and family-friendly games. Best Graphics awards games with exceptional visual quality, while Best Music judges music composition, sound effects, and their integration. Best Scenario rewards games with excellent storytelling. Finally, Best Ported Game recognizes the quality of games originally from other platforms, like arcades or FIS, on the Saturn. Examples are provided for each category to illustrate the types of games being considered. The SEGA Saturn Magazine Grand Prix Awards are seeking votes in several categories. The Best Male/Female Character Award recognizes appealing characters in games. The Package Art Award judges game packaging design, and the Peripheral Award focuses on Saturn accessories. The Sega Gal Award highlights a significant event in the Saturn community. Users can vote by submitting an entry with their choices, including character names and game titles, by December 10th. Prizes include controllers, memory cards, and software, awarded via lottery to voters. This page details the 1995 SEGA Saturn Magazine Grand Prix Awards, a Reader's Choice contest for games released between November 1994 and November 1995. The page presents a comprehensive list of 120 games, categorized by genre with titles, developers, release dates, and prices. This list highlights prominent Saturn titles like Virtua Fighter and Panzer Dragoon.
Below the game list is the voting form. Readers could vote for categories like Best Overall Game, Best Graphics, Best Music, Best Scenario, and specific character awards. Awards were also given for package art and peripherals, plus a unique SEGA Gal Award. The results were set to be announced on February 22nd, showcasing a community effort to recognize the best of the SEGA Saturn. The SEGA Saturn is getting a diverse range of new and upcoming games. New release titles include Japanese board games, sports titles like Fire Pro Baseball, 95 Doubleheader,
and action games such as Godzilla, Archipelago Shock, and Bomberman Saturn. Other genres are represented with games like Father Christmas, Idol Janshi Tsuchipai 2, and Tenchi Muyo, Ryuki Onsen. Coming soon soft highlights anticipated titles. RPG fans can look forward to Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Feta, Remake, Emblem of Justice, and Guardian Heroes. Fighting games include Dragon Force and Mobile Suit Gundam Z, the Battlemaster, while Dragon Ball Z, Shin Butoden, caters to fans of the anime. Other genres covered are shoot-'em-ups, Darius Gaiden, soccer games, and puzzle titles. The list also boasts Fist of the North Star, Theme Park, Rayman, and many more.
This page showcases 3 new game releases for the Sega Saturn. First up is Shutrall, described as a cinematic action-adventure game, almost like an interactive movie. The story is about a young man sent on a trial by a mysterious old man to test his worth to rule the world. Gameplay seems to involve watching the animation and hitting buttons when arrow prompts appear on screen, with a power mark indicating when rapid button pressing is needed. The reviewer notes it's reminiscent of laser-active type games and questions why the catchy power powa powa sound effect from earlier versions is missing. Next we have Kanazawa Shogi, a computer shogi or Japanese chess game, touted as the strongest yet, but also beginner-friendly. It offers 6 difficulty levels, a quick-play 10-second shogi mode, and lets you use advanced strategies like rook, bishop, and chariot. The developers claim to have reached 100% completion, improving from an earlier 80% version, emphasizing the enhanced computer AI and thinking power. Lastly, there's Senryaku Shogi, also a shogi title, but focusing on strategy. It allows players to utilize special tactics and defensive formations like Crane Wing and Gold Warehouse in computer matches, aiming for deep strategic gameplay. The game utilizes polygon graphics to represent the shogi board and pieces, which are praised for their visual appeal and intuitiveness. The reviewer highlights the smooth polygon-based controls for a more tactile feel when playing. This page introduces 3 upcoming Sega Saturn titles. First up is Pro Mahjong Kiwami S, a serious mahjong game aimed at both arcade and home players. It boasts to feature real pro mahjong players, 16 in total, for players to challenge. The game goes deep into analyzing player data to improve your skills and strategy. Screenshots show the in-game action and various menu options like free matches and quizzes. The reviewer seems intrigued by the pro aspect and strategy elements. Next we have Moyero, Pro Yakyu 95 Doubleheader, a baseball game that's highlighting its 2-player split-screen mode. This is an upgraded version for Saturn, featuring real player names and voice acting, including famous voice talent. Screenshots showcase the split-screen gameplay and player stats. The game allows players to create and save edit teams, expanding the gameplay depth. The split-screen feature and realistic presentation are noted as key selling points. Finally, there is Godzilla Redo Shinkan, a Godzilla simulation game, currently 30% complete. However, you don't play as Godzilla. Instead, you command defense forces to fight against Godzilla. Screenshots show strategic isometric views of cities under attack. The game features powerful mecha units like Mogera. It's described as more of a war strategy game than a typical Godzilla game. The reviewer points out this different approach, focusing on strategic human defense against classic Godzilla monsters, which should appeal to older Godzilla fans. This page showcases 3 exciting games heading to the Sega Saturn. First up is Bomberman SS, which is a temporary title it seems. This Bomberman adventure features time travel, where you are tasked with stopping the Hij gang and retrieving stolen crystals. They are promising classic Bomberman action with some new gameplay rules. The game is currently about 20% complete. Next we have Father Christmas, based on the Raymond Briggs story. This is an adventure game where you embark on a quest around the world to find Santa's lost pipe. Interestingly, it's also mentioned as an educational title that subtly teaches geography. This game is much further along in development, sitting at 90% completion. Lastly, Idol Janshi Tsuchipai 2 is coming to Saturn as the sequel to the popular arcade game. It boasts character designs by Kenichi Sonoda and a cast of great voice actors. This Saturn version includes original songs and additional voice lines, and there are plans for OVA and other media expansions beyond just the game. The page even gives us a glimpse behind the scenes at a recording session for the game's theme song, featuring voice actresses Kanai Mika and Mizutani Yuko. SEGA Saturn is preparing for several new releases. Tenchi Muyo! Paradise Hot Springs Travel, a 50% complete adventure game based on the anime, is expected in December '96, offering classic Tenchi gameplay with simple commands. Battle Athletes Victory, a 20% complete simulation game targeting summer '96, puts players in the role of a coach, with visuals by Kazuhiro Hayashi. Hyper Golf, Devil's Course, a fully complete golf game, launches December 15th, featuring devil-themed courses and special shots. Finally, the completed Paparappa Own is a unique horizontal scrolling versus puzzle game set for release November 22nd, where players battle by filling their opponent's space. The SEGA Saturn is getting a mix of adventure game releases. Return to Zork, a CG revival of the classic text adventure, is 50% complete and emphasizes player choice. Death Mask, 85% complete, promises a suspenseful experience with realistic visuals and a complex narrative involving a character transformation. Also announced is an extended cable release for controllers. Upcoming games include Micronet's Mahjong Hour series, Sega's Neon Genesis Evangelion Talk adventure game, Zork Ein, The Great Underground Empire, a text adventure with a February release, and EAV, a PC-ported SF action adventure. Additionally, a sports game, possibly NBA Jam Tournament Edition, is highlighted with exciting basketball action. This page dives into the character relationships for the upcoming SEGA Saturn title, Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner. It's touted as a way to understand the connections between the main players at a glance, indicating the game is nearing completion at 80%. We get a character relationship chart, highlighting key figures and their links. Starting with the protagonist, an unnamed character controlled by the player, who is currently in a relationship with his girlfriend, Kanai Kuzumi, a college student. His parents are also shown. There's a professor connected to the girlfriend, seemingly her Zemi, seminar professor. Then we move to darker characters. There's a dark summoner, named Sid Davis, born in 1929, described as a shadow manipulator with organizational evil. He's in opposition to the protagonist. A mysterious man named Takachi is also featured, with unknown details. On the protagonist's side, there's Reireho as his partner, a 23-year-old fortune teller. The chart also includes various underworld figures connected by profit agreement, or underground business associates, such as a Yakuza boss, a fortune teller named Marie, a doctor who runs a boxing gym, weapon and armor shop owners, a junk shop owner, and a character named Victor, who is interested in ancient demons. The game is slated for release on December 25th and is an RPG for one player. It seems like the article is setting the stage by introducing the various factions and individuals you'll encounter in Devil Summoners and how they relate to each other. This page is hyping up the opening demo of Devil Summoners, saying, "It's a must-see." It's described as a fantastic movie that blends live action and CG to really pump you up before you even start playing. They reckon it's going to be a real step up from previous Mega 10 games, and it's not just the game content that's changed. The opening demo itself is amazing. The article then explains what happens after the opening when you press start. Apparently, there's another demo that shows your town from a bird's eye view, and then it zooms right into the protagonist's house, all done with CG. This then leads directly into the main game. Moving on, they're talking about the conversations you'll have with people in town. They say that when you step out of your house, you're bound to bump into all sorts of folks. This article is highlighting these everyday conversation scenes, which they consider a fundamental part of Mega 10 games. They want you to know that these basic dialogues are a key element of this new Devil Summoner. We even get a peek at some of these conversations with family members and people around town. This text introduces a new stance system in a Mega 10 game that enhances demon negotiation. Players must use the talk command to initiate conversations with demons, who can react differently based on the situation. The core of the gameplay involves choosing dialogue options to befriend demons or acquire items. The stance system introduces a hidden conversation attitude parameter, influencing the dialogue choices and demon reactions.
This adds depth to conversations by considering the player's attitude towards the demons. Examples of different conversation types illustrate how stance affects dialogue options. While previous Mega 10 games allowed for dialogue choices to influence negotiation, stance adds a more defined and impactful approach to conversations, making it a key element of the gameplay. This page highlights the user-friendly demon fusion in a Mega 10 game, probably Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers, making it easier to understand and use. It says Demon Fusion, a staple of the Mega 10 series, is now more accessible, focusing on understandability. New features are showcased like the Fusion Table display and Demon Search function. The Fusion Table lets players see demon combinations in-game, removing the need for external guides. The Demon Search function lets players search for demons they can create based on currently available demons, making Fusion less trial-ender and more efficient to get desired demons. The page also mentions the stance system, connecting it to Demon Fusion. It explains that in the game's story, Fusion is handled by Victor in the Mausoleum of Wickedness, or Business Hall, where players summon and fuse demons. Ancient demon races and items related to scenarios are mentioned as being involved in fusion, implying deeper integration of story and gameplay mechanics. Finally, there's a section titled Development Reaches Final Stage, featuring an interview with Okada Kuji, the director. He discusses the stance system, emphasizing how player choices and dialogue influence conversations with demons, adding depth to the negotiation process. The game features expanded demon fusion beyond 2 demon combinations, including fusions with swords and the new creation demon system. This allows players to create unique demons, customize stats, and influence loyalty. Dungeons are nearing completion, serving as the main gameplay area with shops, conversations, and traps. Classic traps like pitfalls and warp traps are returning, now in 3D. The interview with Okada-san highlights a user-friendly magic system and confirms fusion is accessible for newcomers but complex for veterans. The UI aims for an engaging experience, drawing inspiration from other RPGs. The developers seek a balance between an expansive world and smooth progression, emphasizing player immersion.
FIDA Remake, Emblem of Justice, is a significant upgrade of the Super Famicom title, featuring CD-ROM quality graphics, anime cutscenes, and voice acting. Designed by Tamaki Ogata, the characters are a key highlight. The game follows Brian, a framed warrior, and Akanen as they build a liberation army. Players control characters like the archer Dora, the magician El, and the wolf-like warrior Eris. The gameplay loop involves area exploration, movement maps, mission confirmation, and battles. Allies join, influencing the party's law, chaos, or neutral alignment. Screenshots reveal town exploration, party formation, up to 10 members, equipment upgrades, and the Libra value system impacting ally attributes. Dynamic battle scenes showcase character actions. The remake promises a significantly enriched RPG experience. This page introduces Guardian Heroes and highlights the 5 main playable heroes. The game is stated to be 90% complete and is aiming for release on January 21st, priced at 5,800 yen. It's an action game supporting 2 players normally, and up to 6 in battle mode, and it even supports multi-terminal battles. The editors are so hooked, they're losing sleep playing it. The page then details each of the 5 heroes with descriptions and action shots. First up is Hang Samwell, described as a standard, powerful male character with a 6-stage combo. Next is Nicole Neal, a small girl who is a magic user, boasting high attack power and recovery magic, plus barrier magic, and she is hard to keep down even when knocked over. Selena Colsey is introduced as a female knight, a balanced fighter with both sword skills and magic, making her versatile. Randy and Edward are a unique duo, a boy and his dog, offering diverse attack patterns, with Edward the dog being quite useful, focusing on defensive play. Finally, there's IPP Shi Ginjiru, a ninja-type character with high technique, employing various ninja arts, and known for his agile and quick attacks. The screenshots showcase the game's side-scrolling beat-em-up action with these characters, in the thick of battles. This page delves into the unique control system of Guardian Heroes, highlighting that while it might seem a bit different, it offers a lot of depth. The page describes the basic attacks as being controlled by the A and B buttons for strong and weak attacks respectively, with directional inputs influencing reach. The C button is for defense, automatically guarding against weak attacks. Double tapping C allows you to evade, useful for skilled players, though it consumes MP. Movement options. are also covered, with double tapping directions for dashing, and a backstep performed with C and B together. Jumping and double jumping are done by pressing upwards on the direction pad. There's also an aerial downward attack executed by pressing down and a while jumping. A counterattack is possible by pressing a koa when attacked from behind, allowing for continuous counters if timed well. The game features a line system, with 3 lines of play, and the L, R, and Regi buttons are used to move between the front and back lines strategically. For magic, the Z button brings up icons to select spells, making it easy for new players, while advanced players can use command inputs to bypass the icon selection. Finally, the X button is used to command undead allies, bringing up icons for commands like wait, attack, protect, scatter, and concentrate, allowing players to adjust their undead army's tactics. Overall, the article suggests the control system is deep and strategic, rewarding players who master its nuances. This page continues to explore the strategic depth in Guardian Heroes. It highlights how attacks can interrupt each other, encouraging strategic play. The article then talks about pursuit attacks, emphasizing the flexibility of continuing combos even after launching an enemy into the air, allowing for varied and stylish attack strings. Next, it discusses the freedom of aerial combat, noting that while typical fighting games might limit actions in the air, Guardian Heroes lets you unleash a barrage of attacks, both ascending and descending, creating dynamic aerial battles. The page then covers the concept of immediate counterattacks after taking damage. Even when knocked back, players can quickly retaliate with attacks using A, B, or C buttons while landing, ensuring a constant flow of action and minimizing downtime. It mentions the T button is for defense, allowing blocking, and also for initiating counterattacks when attacked from behind. Finally, there's a section announcing a Treasure Monthly CD soundtrack release for the game. It mentions that the game's music is high quality, born from the team's cartridge development experience and their pioneering use of CD audio recording. They express satisfaction with the sound quality and credit the sound team, including the manipulator Mr. Matsuo Hideki and arranger Mr. Nudo Arisa. The CD is said to include vocal arrangements as bonus tracks, including one sung by Mr. Suzuki himself, with lyrics by various staff members. This page is all about Dragon Force, a simulation RPG for the SEGA Saturn. The article is really highlighting what makes this game stand out. First, it talks about the complex human relationships within the game, mentioning there are over 120 characters, and their connections are deep, including friendships, love, hate, and rivalries. It sounds like the story is heavily character-driven. Then, it describes the storyline as a royal road type, centered around the king, and introduces characters like Thales, Gongos, Nikatsuki, and Wayne, showing their relationships such as childhood friends and subordinates in a small diagram. It seems to be suggesting a classic fantasy story, but with depth. Next up is the real-time battle scene, and they emphasize battles with up to 200 units on each side. Strategy and special moves are key here, and there are screenshots showing these large battles and the game's interface. Lastly, the page boasts about the thick scenario and visual scene. It mentions 8 scenarios with branching storylines, and the goddess Astir, hinting at a rich lore. They really seem to be emphasizing the depth of the story and impressive visuals as major selling points for Dragon Force on the Saturn. Essentially, the page is presenting Dragon Force as a deep and engaging RPG, with a focus on story, characters, and large-scale strategic battles. Dragon Force explores the continent of Legendora, focusing on 2 main kingdoms, Highland and Moonpales. Highland, a kingdom of diligent people, is recovering from a disaster and known for its agriculture. Moonpales, home to long-lived elves, is isolated within forests and renowned for its magic and archery. The narrative highlights character relationships, specifically the bonds between Wayne and his companions, Ro, Link, and Nina, and Tyrus with her group, Duran, Mana, Lineal, and Glenn, emphasizing trust. The choice of protagonists, Wayne or Tyrus, influences the storyline. Wayne, becoming king, fights invaders, guided by the goddess Astir. Tyrus, elected queen, also seeks divine guidance. The game offers diverse character classes like soldier, knight, sorcerer, and thief, alongside more unique options such as dragons, hinting at varied gameplay strategies. This page introduces a new regular corner called Dragon Force Scramble, which is described as an information bureau
designed to dive deep into the world of Dragon Force and reveal behind-the-scenes stories. In the Norn's World History section, it explains the creation myth of the Dragon Force world, stating that in the beginning was Tuffle, and with Tuffle the world began and ends. Tuffle created 6 goddesses and 6 gods, who then created stars and rested.
Goddesses created continents from stars. Gods populated the continents with stars. It goes on to explain the cycle of gods and goddesses and their relation to stars, which relates to the world of Dragon Force and its lore. The Show It!/news section announces the start of this new corner in the magazine, promising to deliver lots of inside information on Dragon Force. It humorously mentions the developers are working so hard they are becoming like zombies, showing their dedication. So Workin's weekly development diary offers a glimpse into the game's development. So Kara-chan mentions writing the scenario early in the morning, even dreaming about it at the company. Mr. Benkichi, the planning director, is involved, and the team is working diligently every day on Dragon Force, feeling good about the progress despite the tight schedule. Finally, the Hitokoto Corner features a small comic strip. It seems to be a humorous exchange, with characters reacting to something being boring, and it ends in a comical outburst of violence, with "Kill!" being shouted. This issue of the Dragon Force magazine focuses on Wayne Almaric, the new king. Wayne's profile includes his age, height, weight, catchphrase, and a discussion of his backstory, the Wayne arc. This section reveals his upbringing near the Elf Forest, exposure to political struggles, and his father's assassination, all while he struggles to adjust to his new role. Other features include a trivia quiz, sneak peeks at Leona and Tylis, and an Ask the Queen Anything segment where Leona reacts humorously to a fan's crush on Tylis. The developers, Pan Ji-yu and Hashi, also return, discussing their love for simulation games, unit placement, and the dynamism of character movements. The magazine also encourages fan submissions for illustrations and merchandise ideas. This page is all about the upcoming SEGA Saturn game Mobile Suit Gundam, emphasizing its beautiful mobile suit action. It's described as a side-scrolling shooting action game, and the reviewer is excited about capturing the essence of First Gundam. The page highlights key features called Koko ga Gundam, pointing out the mobile suit actions, the variety of weapons available like beam rifles, beam sabers, Vulcan cannons, hyper bazookas, beam javelins and shields, and the game's recreation of the original First Gundam story. Screenshots showcase the gameplay, featuring classic mobile suits in action, battling Zeon forces in desert and city environments. It mentions that the game will have 12 stages based on the First Gundam storyline, even including cutscenes and dialogue to enhance the atmosphere. One screenshot specifically mentions a stage set inside 7 where you have to defeat Zaku mobile suits using only your beam saber and Vulcan cannon, suggesting a faithful recreation of iconic moments. The game is marked as 80% complete and lists Bandai as the publisher, noting it's an action game for one player and suitable for all ages. The reviewer seems impressed by the modeling and overall quality, mentioning it's worth seeing. The SEGA Saturn game based on Mobile Suit Gundam features several key elements. The new type attack, a special ability for protagonist Amuro Ray, is a powerful move executed with the SIC button, useful for defeating tougher enemies. The game also includes a support system, accessed through a strategic map, allowing players to call in assistance from White Base, including mobile suits and core fighters. Players must manage White Base's defensive power as it provides support. The game strives for authenticity by utilizing the original voice cast from the Gundam anime, ensuring a familiar and immersive experience despite some dialogue alterations and supplementary additions. Dragon Ball Z, The Legend of the Super Saiyan for the SEGA Saturn, boasts a dual-screen system for intense battles with 27 playable characters. Released by Bandai on November 17 for 6,800 yen, it supports 1 to 2 players. The game emphasizes three-dimensional space battle with dynamic camera angles and thoughtful loading screens displaying move lists. The Character Introduction Part 1 highlights several characters. Super Saiyan Goku, balanced with his Kamehameha, and Gohan are featured, alongside Goten, Vegeta, Final Flash, Big Bang Attack, and Trunks. Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Piccolo, Dash Upper, also appear, with the unexpected addition of Mr. Satan. These characters are grouped as the Super Saiyan Plus Alpha group, showcasing a core of Saiyan fighters along with Piccolo and the comedic Mr. Satan. This text introduces various Dragon Ball characters,
focusing on antagonists and other key players. Character Introduction Part 2 details villains. Zarbon, a loyal subordinate. Rikum, of the Ginyu Force. Ginyu, leader of the Ginyu Force with his body change. Frieza, the evil emperor. Cell, with absorbing abilities. And Majin Buu, including his Fat and Super Buu forms. Character Introduction Part 3 showcases Krillin with his solar flare. Tien Shinhan with his Tribeam. Android 18, Android 16, and Great Saiyaman. The other warrior group includes King Piccolo, Gotenks, Master Roshi, Gogeta, fusion of Goku and Vegeta, and Kid Goku. This article reviews a Dragon Ball Z fighting game's Mr. Satan mode, centered around the World Martial Arts Tournament. Players bet zeni on fights and earn double their money if their chosen fighter wins. Mr. Satan isn't a pushover. Success requires strategy and item usage. The winning items list features comical and strategic items like banana peels, landmines, and health drinks to influence battles. Manager bets let you boost fighter stats before matches, while Satan Prayer adds random buffs from Dende. The mode emphasizes the fun and slightly absurd nature of the game, highlighting Mr. Satan's role and the potential for chaotic, strategic battles. It offers a unique twist on traditional fighting games with elements of chance and tactical item usage. This page is all about the SEGA Saturn game Darius Gaiden. It's described as a delic shooting game, emphasizing its unique and intense shooting experience. The page highlights the game's arcade-perfect graphics and immersive atmosphere, noting the beautiful visuals created by the vibrant colors. It mentions the game's balanced difficulty, blending tension and relaxation, and also praises the power-up system, which is a refined version from previous games in the series. The article showcases a Stage 15 digest section, breaking down the game's structure into zones, a key feature of the Darius series. Each zone from a 2K is briefly described with its unique characteristics and enemies. For instance, Zone A is noted for its straightforward nature and rotating backgrounds. Zone B has a fleet of enemy battleships and a boss that launches missiles. Zone S features screen-filling bosses and a focus on powerful shots. Zone D is a desert stage with challenging enemies. Zone E is a watery zone filled with aquatic enemies, and so on. Each zone description gives a glimpse into the diverse and challenging gameplay experience Darius Gaiden offers. The page suggests that to truly understand the depth of the game, playing beyond just the first stage is essential. This page introduces Fist of the North Star for the SEGA Saturn, billing it as the third installment where Kenshiro rises to face a new challenge. The story is set after the original manga, with Rin and Bat about to get married when trouble arises, and Kenshiro steps in. The game's flow is broken down into stages. First, you gather visual information from scenes, then engage in battles with standard enemies and tough bosses, and finally, the story progresses based on your victories. It emphasizes paying attention to the visual cues and battle strategies.
A key feature is the password system. After each battle, a password is shown, letting you continue the story from where you left off, or use these passwords in versus mode to unlock and play as characters encountered in the story. The page details the beginning of the story in Chapter 1, Dark Hokuto in Shadow. Rin is kidnapped by the Dark Hokuto, prompting Kenshiro to start a new journey. The first chapter features 6 enemy characters, including Jado and Zed, who are described as not too strong to begin with. The game is an adventure genre, supports 2 players, and was about 85% complete at the time of this magazine, scheduled for release on December 22nd. The article concludes by highlighting the nostalgic appeal of Fist of the North Star returning on the SEGA Saturn in a manga style. This article explores the battle system and story progression of Fist of the North Star on SEGA Saturn. The combat system features 6 gauges, including attack, body, skill, spirit, sense, and breath, which are vital for strategic gameplay. Attacks are ranked from A to D, with A being basic and D the most powerful. Successful use of gauges is key to unleashing devastating techniques.
The story section, Kenshiro Awaits a New Destiny, details Kenshiro's journey beginning in the North Cave, where he learns about Hokuto's history. He then battles Geira, continuing his journey south to rescue a Trin. The narrative emphasizes Kenshiro's ongoing quest and the introduction of new challenges within the game's storyline. This page introduces J. League Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru, a passionate simulation game where you build and manage your own J.League soccer club to become the strongest. The game starts with choosing your hometown from across Japan, team name, and uniforms, putting you in the role of the club's representative. Gameplay revolves around club management, player training, and competing in the J.League. The page highlights the yearly cycle, mentioning various cup competitions like the Diamond Cup, Platinum Cup, Challenge League, Crystal Cup, and New Year Cup, which are all part of the challenge. You need to handle recruitment, training, facility upgrades, and participate in matches throughout the year. The game emphasizes weekly planning for training and managing your resources to improve your team and club effectively. The yearly schedule runs from January with the NYC New Year Cup finals, through league stages in spring, summer, and autumn, to the NYC and training camps again in December. This guide to J.League Pro Soccer Club Wotsukuru outlines club management, covering office and clubhouse functions. The office handles finances, player transfers, scouting, and oversees training. The clubhouse, run by the coach, focuses on player development through training and team meetings. Investing in stadium and clubhouse upgrades boosts revenue and infrastructure. Tactical styles include normal, defensive, attacking, and counter, influencing match strategies.
The game allows 3 substitutions, emphasizing strategic player changes. During matches, you manage the team in real time. Additional features include password battle for friendly competitions and a data room to track your club's history over 40 in-game years.
This page showcases the game Quo Vadis, a sci-fi simulation RPG that seems to be nearing completion at 90%. It emphasizes a substantial scenario and system, focusing on a story of friendship amongst 6 young people, set against a backdrop of national conflicts. The page introduces the main characters, including Hal Balanshin, Irina Mueller, Benjamin Buck, Adira Khan, Wolf Traxay, and Sales Matera, highlighting their importance in the narrative. Screenshots give a glimpse into the game's interface and scenes. Interestingly, there's a radio drama called Radio Quo Vadis being broadcast, starting from October 14th, which appears to expand on the game's story and is broadcast every Saturday evening. Adding to the excitement, there's a giveaway for signed posters by the voice actors, for those who send in letters with their impressions of the game and questions for the staff. The game was set for release on December 21st.
This page goes into detail about the gameplay system of Quo Vadis, focusing on what they call a simultaneous battle system controlled by careful foresight. It breaks down the gameplay into sections, starting with the intermission phase. In the intermission, players choose formations for their units. There are different formation types, like vertical formation and horizontal formation, each with its own strategic advantages. Players also select their ships, with information displayed on screen about ship stats. Finally, commanders are chosen and assigned, which seems to impact the fleet's abilities. Moving on to the movement map, this section explains the movement phase of battles. It's turn-based, and crucially, all units move simultaneously. Positioning is emphasized as key to success, and the map seems grid-based. The battle deployment section describes combat. When enemy fleets get close and enter attack range, battles commence. Similar to movement, attacks are also simultaneous. Damage is calculated individually for each unit and weapon, taking into account factors like armor. It mentions that damage is calculated for both the main body and weapon systems separately, and if weapons are destroyed, attacking becomes impossible. It seems like strategic deployment and pre-planning are crucial for winning battles in Quo Vadis, as the system rewards careful consideration before action. This SEGA Saturn page spotlights the Dream Amusement Park Creation Game. Theme Park. Players build and manage their own theme park, experiencing the highs and lows of park operations. Key features include vibrant attractions with 3D movie experiences, a customizable park design, and the visual progression of the park's development. Players must also manage shops, observe guest reactions, and handle unexpected issues. Staff management is crucial, and a competitive element is hinted at through global expansion. The page is rich, with screenshots illustrating park layouts, rides, menus, and character art. It emphasizes the SEGA Saturn version as the original, and encourages players to build their dream amusement park on their TVs. This text details various amusement park attractions available in the game Theme Park. Rides are categorized by type: kid-friendly, bouncy castle, snake slide, joy plane, thrill rides, maze, jet coaster, pirate ship, and attractions for couples, haunted house,
parasol chair. Other options include the coffee cup, water slider for summer, race car go-kart track, and the innovative virtual flight.
The text also provides park design advice. It encourages players to consider real-world amusement park layouts, utilizing dense layouts for urban parks, and larger, unique rides in rural settings. Parades and shows are suggested to increase park appeal. Successful park design will lead to positive feedback and the potential for annual expansions with new attractions and large roller coasters. This page is a preview for the SEGA Saturn version of The Tower, a simulation game where you build and manage a massive tower. The article is presented from the viewpoint of a female office worker, an OL, living and working in the tower, giving a unique angle on the game's features. It emphasizes that the Saturn version allows players to find themselves within the game world, suggesting a deeper level of immersion compared to the PC original. The diary entries highlight different aspects of tower life as gameplay elements. One entry covers the excitement of the new underground subway opening, making commuting easier. Another talks about lively offices and crowded elevators, while a third reviews a ramen shop in the tower. Further entries discuss everyday issues like garbage disposal and the anticipation for the newly completed amusement area after work, featuring a cinema and a hall. Screenshots show in-game views of the tower's interior, including offices, shops, and transportation systems, showcasing the visual upgrade for the Saturn. The article seems to be aiming to convey the game's appeal by focusing on the daily lives of the tower's inhabitants and the various challenges and opportunities it presents to the player as the tower's architect and manager. This page showcases the SEGA Saturn version of the arcade shoot-'em-up game In the Hunt, originally titled Kaitai Sensu in Japan. The article emphasizes the detailed graphics and immersive gameplay, claiming there is no slowdown on the Saturn, highlighting it as a perfect port. The game is described as a side-scrolling shooter, where players control a submarine to fight enemies both above and below the water surface. It mentions the game's popularity in arcades, and how the Saturn version faithfully recreates the experience with enhanced graphics. The page is divided into sections for 4 stages. Stage 1, Antarctic. Stage 2, Metropolis of Revival. Stage 3, Earth Crust Defense Line. And Stage 4, City of the Dead. Each stage section includes screenshots and a brief description of its setting and gameplay features. For example, Stage 1 takes place in the Antarctic with battles against sea and air enemies. Stage 2 is in a revived metropolis. Stage 3 is set in the Earth's crust defense line with giant enemies. And Stage 4 is in a City of the Dead. The article notes the detailed graphics, especially the underwater environments, explosions, and enemy designs. It also mentions the 2-player mode. Overall, the tone is very positive, praising the Saturn port's quality and faithfulness to the arcade original and highlighting the excitement of the gameplay and visuals. Gunbird for SEGA Saturn is a deceptively challenging vertical shooter, praised as a perfect arcade port with added features. Beyond the core game, it includes a new opening, illustration gallery, and character index. Players can choose from 5 unique characters, each with distinct attacks and playstyles. Gameplay revolves around 3 attack types: standard shots that power up, character-specific power-up attacks fueled by gauges, and screen-clearing bombs. An interview with Sikyo's Mr. Tanaka Hiroyuki reveals the Saturn version, handled by Atlas, was released alongside the PlayStation version on December 15th. The Saturn version features arcade and monkey mode alongside 2-player support. Developers prioritized a polished experience, ensuring engaging stage clears, endings, and a balanced difficulty that allows players to experience the full game. This shooting game guide covers the England and Africa stages. In England's castle setting, players face aerial and ground enemies, favoring rapid fire for air enemies. The boss is a night robot, requiring dodging lance and face attacks. Power-ups in corners are key. The Africa stage, a jungle, features immediate ground and air enemies, including red turrets and mid-sized airborne foes. The boss, an omnipotent tank, has 2 phases. First, destroy side turrets. The transformed boss is more aggressive. Adjust position and target weak points. Power-ups are vital for both stages, especially against the powerful tank boss. This page showcases Galaxy Fight, Universal Warriors coming to SEGA Saturn, boasting an increased roster of playable characters, now between 8 to 12. The port is progressing smoothly,
and anticipation is high for the release date. The article highlights that the Saturn version will improve upon the arcade original by adjusting the difficulty, making bosses playable characters, and including bonus characters. It mentions gameplay features like special moves, dash attacks, double jumps, and guard cancels. The screenshots show various action scenes and the character select screen. The page also points out that the opening is faithfully recreated from the arcade version and confirms the presence of special input techniques. The release date is listed as 95.09.22, indicating September 22, 1995 for the SEGA Saturn. This guide highlights the special moves in the SEGA Saturn version of Galaxy Fight: Universal Warriors. Each character possesses unique must-kill techniques. Rolf, the hero, uses the striking Sataboom and Rolf shot. Kazuma's moves include the Shadowless Kick and Alpha Fire. Alban, the prince, boasts the Alpha Blast and Rolling Slicer. Julin, the thief, utilizes the Galactica Cyclone and Rabbit Thrower. Bonus Kun and Jakob, the bonus guys, have the Bonus Kun Chop and Rabbit Blow. Musafar, the Robo, employs the Musafar Punch and Missile. Felden, the life form, features the Demolition Ball and Absolute Disaster. Robo, a hidden character, uses the Direct Hit Tree and Sky Heaven Swing, along with another hidden character, Normus. The guide aims to encourage players to explore the diverse characters and their powerful moves.
Hat Trick Hero S for the Sega Saturn is an arcade-style soccer game focused on fun over realism. This port includes exclusive Saturn content beyond the arcade version. Key gameplay features include the Super Shoot for powerful shots and a replay function. The game offers 4 modes. Arcade mode mirrors the arcade experience. World League mode is a World Cup-style tournament. Exhibition mode supports 2-player matches. PK mode is a penalty shootout mode. Winning consecutive matches unlocks rewards at 2, 4, and 6 wins. Screenshots showcase team selection, gameplay, and game modes. The Sega Saturn version of Baku Baku Animal World Rearing Championship promises enhanced fun compared to the arcade game. Scheduled for release on November 10th for 4,800 yen, it features various modes, including a league battle for up to 5 players with record-saving capabilities, and a breeder-technician test examination to assess breeding skills. Players are encouraged to explore the options screen, especially the sound test. A key gameplay element is the virtual bait system, which allows chaining attacks. Eating multiple blocks strengthens attacks. A major addition is the Nezumi, mouse, character, bringing the total animal types to 5. The mouse's favorite food is cheese, and its inclusion adds a new dimension to the breeding experience. Screenshots display the game modes, gameplay, options, rule settings, and the new character. This page showcases Off-World Interceptor Extreme, a wild and addictive overseas-style shooting game for Sega Saturn. The tagline emphasizes an exhilarating chase experience. The game is described as an off-road racing game, but not in the conventional sense, as players traverse lawless wilderness in heavily armed vehicles, engaging in destructive races. Despite its simplicity, the game boasts high-quality full-polygon graphics, creating a primitive yet exciting and immersive experience. The article highlights the core gameplay loop, mastering a single, challenging course. It notes that while the graphics might initially seem basic, the gameplay becomes deeply engaging as you play, focusing on vehicle control, shooting accuracy, and item collection. The physics are emphasized, with players needing to consider vehicle weight distribution during jumps and weapon firing, leading to a satisfying and deep gameplay experience. Practical advice includes utilizing nitro boosts effectively on flat ground for maximum speed. The shop and parts section details the game's upgrade system. Earning prize money in races is crucial for long-term progress. The shop allows players to enhance their vehicles with various performance-boosting parts and customize their appearance. Gameplay tips suggest prioritizing parts upgrades as a key strategy for success. The page also mentions 2-player battle mode and view change options, highlighting the variety of gameplay experiences available. It's presented as a solid 3D off-road shooting game from Crystal Dynamics that delivers authentic action. This page continues the look at Off-World Interceptor Extreme, showing off the 5 planets that make up the game's stages. It mentions that each planet has 5 rounds, and at the end of each planet, you face a boss character in a machine, emphasizing defeating them as a major objective. The game is described as having a story mode,
where you clear all the planets in order to see the ending off-world scene, and a versus mode with 3 special loop courses for each planet. The page details each of the 5 stages with screenshots.
First stage, Scorch, seems to be a desert environment with towering structures. Second stage, Atlanta Point, looks like a jungle or tropical setting with ruins and palm trees. Third stage, Bastion, appears to be a more industrial or urban stage. Fourth stage, Las Linas, is a cave or underground mine setting. Finally, final stage, Silt Sorrow, shows a snowy or icy environment with futuristic buildings. Each stage description highlights unique environmental features and hazards, like slippery surfaces in Scorch and electrified rocks in Atlanta Point. Section called Movie Shock that highlights the game's story mode. It mentions that before each stage, high-quality full-motion video cutscenes are played, featuring Japanese voiceovers. These scenes, seemingly like B-movie sci-fi, involve meetings and dialogues, adding to the game's atmosphere. The reviewer seems to enjoy these cutscenes, suggesting they are entertaining and enhance the overall experience. Wangan Dead Heat, a racing game nearing completion, 70%, is set for a December 8th release at 6,800 yen. The game focuses on high-speed realism, simulating the Tokyo Metropolitan Expressway. It features a 2-player mode with split-screen and racing controller support, along with back-end video integration. Toyota even collaborated, featuring a Supra in the opening movie. Players can choose from 3 camera views and drive popular car models like the Dark Nebulan, Matte Viper, and Rapid Fighter. The game emphasizes acceleration and grip. Developer Pack-In Video aims for 30 FPS, tunnel races, and detailed courses, including road undulations and signage, to authentically recreate the expressway experience. They highlight the 2-player mode and are excited for the final product, aiming to differentiate themselves from other racing games through their attention to detail. This page introduces the exciting racing game, Drift King's Techniques Heat Up 20 Courses, which appears to be Wangan Dead Heat, mentioned on the previous page, highlighting its 20 courses. It showcases 4 of these courses. Splash Road Highway, which goes through a cityscape with landmarks like Rainbow Bridge and Tokyo Tower. Urban Site Highway, passing factories and rivers. Wind Breath Highway, mentioning Yokohama Bay Bridge as a landmark and a seaside highway feel. And Bayside Road Highway, described as a seaside course with buildings on both sides. The page then emphasizes a key feature, 10 beautiful women as navigators. In a battle mode, it seems you can race repeatedly and choose from 10 female characters to ride with you. These women act as navigators and cheer you on, adding a unique element to the races. The game also offers movie card compatibility. Apparently, if you have a separate movie card, video CD decoder, you can unlock even higher quality video content featuring these beautiful women, offering more visual rewards for players who want to see beautiful images. Finally, it mentions Course Conqueror's Rewards, suggesting that if you achieve 3rd place or higher in races, you get to enjoy special scenes with these female characters as a reward. The reviewer seems to think this is a very appealing feature, hinting at exciting developments in the game's progression. This page is all about King the Spirits, which is known to us as Wangan Dead Heat. It emphasizes conquering 3 challenging courses to achieve complete domination in this racer. You'll be driving fully tuned cars on courses packed with dramatic elevation changes, and you can even watch replays of your races. Course 1 full counter is in the spotlight, and they're giving away pro driving tips for each section of the track. They recommend braking before tunnels, using shortcut drifts, tight cornering, full speed zones, and mastering drift sections. Precision driving is definitely the key to victory here. By defeating 36 rivals, you can unlock hidden cars, a nice bonus for dedicated players. Developed by Atlas and released on November 10th, this game has 2-player battles, racing controller support, and promises a ton of content for street racing fans. With its 100% completion claim, it's all about realistic and exciting one-on-one public road races. This page dives deeper into Wangan Dead Heat and provides expert tips for conquering Course 2 and Course 3. For Course 2, the key is Power Slide, emphasizing full-throttle cornering and mastering drifts, especially after the interchange. The target time for Course 2 is 1 minute 20 seconds and 66 milliseconds. Course 3, titled Full Boost, is all about maintaining top speed until the finish line. It mentions a single, gentle curve
where even novice and expert drivers can grip and clear it. The target time here is 1 minute 12 seconds and 948 milliseconds. The page gives advice for specific sections of each course, like corner entry with drift clear, continuous curve also accelerator on, end of continuous curve, and shortcut and drift, providing images and short explanations for each, like using drift in the middle of corners and maintaining speed through continuous curves. They also give advice for straight sections and blind corners, emphasizing drifting as the key technique in these situations. The overall advice is to use drift techniques to master the courses and achieve the target times.
This page is all about the upcoming SEGA Saturn game, 3x3 Eyes, Absorbing Princess. The page is hyping up the beautiful visuals, saying they've taken cell art and digitized it for a clean look on the Saturns. It's boasting about how much better the graphics are going to be. There's a section aimed at newcomers to the 3x3 Eyes series, explaining the basics. It mentions the main character Pai, who is immortal and has 3 eyes, and her connection with Yakumo. It touches on the storyline being about immortality and adventure. The page then talks about the story in more detail, explaining it's set in Japan and revolves around the absorbing princess. It sounds like the game will have branching storylines, with choices you make at the beginning affecting how the story progresses. It mentions different scenarios and choices impacting which characters you meet and how events unfold. It also says to expect different outcomes and that you'll need to play through multiple times for complete clarity, suggesting there are multiple endings and paths. The game is stated to be 30% complete and is listed as an adventure game developed by Nihon Create. This page continues the look at 3x3 Eyes, Absorbing Princess. And here they're doing a direct comparison of the visuals between the Saturn and PlayStation versions. They point out that Japan Create, the developers, are really pushing the Saturn hardware to enhance the graphics from the Windows and PlayStation versions. They're showing side-by-side screenshots and explaining how the Saturn version has clearer character faces, and even details like the taxi windows are sharper and more defined. The overall visual quality is said to be significantly improved on Saturn. Moving down, there's an interview with graphic artist Yamamoto Toshihiko. He talks about the focus on making the graphics a real selling point of the game. They've taken SL animation techniques and digitized them, aiming for a clean and polished look. He mentions they've refined the character art, lighting, and colors, and are using something called tour motion. It sounds like they are really focused on quality, using computers and animation software to get the best result, even using a huge number of animation cells. Yamamoto highlights the time-consuming process of checking and perfecting the visuals, making sure the image quality is top-notch. Rayman, for the SEGA Saturn, is a heartwarming action game promising a fantastical experience. Players control Rayman, rescuing Electoons and recovering treasures to restore peace. The game features charming animations and starts with basic actions, expanding with power-ups. Stages like the Forest of Skythought and Bandland offer diverse challenges. Forest of Skythought utilizes plums for traversal, while Bandland is a musical world with traps. Development focused on animation, backgrounds, and joyful gameplay, aiming for a balanced difficulty that encourages discovery. The game is complete and being refined. Rayman's moveset expands as players progress, creating a sense of growth. The American version's positive reception suggests it will satisfy Japanese Saturn owners. This page focuses on the upcoming SEGA Saturn game Marriage Kekon, which is being advertised as a limited-release pre-marriage experience, targeting players aged 25 and older. It's described as a new type of simulation game where you aim to find your ideal partner and get married. The game is about 50% complete, with its release approaching rapidly. The page highlights features like setting player data, which includes details like personality, birthday, and blood type, influencing the game's progression. It also talks about interactions with characters, where commands like look and touch are crucial, emphasizing careful observation and interaction. These commands are said to be important for deepening relationships. There's a section detailing a pre-order campaign for Marriage Kekon, which was available until October 27th. Pre-ordering the limited edition data software entitled you to bonus content, specifically an audio drama and character introductions. This bonus CD apparently contains valuable content that you can only hear there, including voice actor introductions and drama. Finally, the page mentions the game's audio content,
promising a rich experience with voice introductions and comments from the voice actors, radio drama-style short stories, and background music and sound effects throughout the game. It sounds like they are emphasizing the audio aspect as a key selling point. This page dives into super real mahjong graffiti, highlighting and analyzing the 6 undressing scenes in the game. It breaks down each scene by character, describing the stages of undressing, the main animation used, and the undressing posture. The page has a section framed as a question and answer session, posing the question of what kind of girl appears in graffiti and what the game's appeal is. The answer suggests that the game features girls with a sense of realism, and the appeal lies in the detailed depictions of undressing, despite some seemingly illogical rules. There's also a review section titled, Real Mahjong Graffiti is Like This, where the reviewer notes the game is part of the Super Real Mahjong series and focuses on the characters and animation quality. They point out the detailed character designs and animation techniques and emphasize the game's role as a clothing destruction mahjong game from SEGA, the developers. In a section called This Month's Face, we see a profile of a 17-year-old high school girl named Ayuma-chan, possibly a featured character. Finally, a box provides game information, listing the developer as SETA, a release date of November 24th, price of 8,800 yen, genre as mahjong, player number as 1, and age rating as 18 years and older. The page proudly declares completion 100% and calls it the first Saturn undressing mahjong ultimate title. This page introduces the SEGA Saturn Soft Complete Guide, essentially a feature showcasing SEGA Saturn games. The page highlights a selection of titles that are given more in-depth coverage within the magazine. Featured prominently is an illustration by Takami Akai, known for his work on Princess Maker, and it seems like the princess character might be related to Princess Maker 2, which is listed as being on page 166. The guide promises to thoroughly introduce enjoyable software that was released in the previous month. The games specifically mentioned include Princess Maker 2, X Japan, Virtual Shock 001, King of Boxing, Thunderblade and Road Blaster, which seems to combine Thunderblade and Road Blaster into one entry, and Puyo Puyo 2 on pages 166, 168, 170, 172, and 173 respectively. It looks like a diverse range of genres are covered, from simulation to music experiences and action puzzle titles, aiming to give Saturn owners a good overview of recent and noteworthy games. Princess Maker 2's core gameplay revolves around raising your daughter, encompassing vacation, social interaction, and appearance upkeep. Effective parenting involves managing stress and utilizing vacations for benefits, engaging with nobles to increase popularity, and refining her appearance. Martial arts training is crucial, with various regions offering unique events, enemies, and items. The northern mountainous region is challenging, while the eastern forest region is beginner-friendly. The southern swamp provides valuable drops, and the western desert hosts powerful foes and the spirit cat. The game's depth lies in its numerous parameters, over 70 endings, and the subtle impact of choices on your daughter's career. Blending RPG elements with strategic parenting, the reviewer emphasizes the rewarding experience of carefully guiding your daughter's path. This page is a complete guide section dedicated to Princess Maker 2, giving players advice on how to raise their daughter and achieve different endings. It starts by saying you should think about your daughter's future before even starting to play, suggesting goals like raising her as a magic user or an alluring lady. The guide then breaks down different gameplay paths. One path, Path of Arts, focuses on mastering a single skill, suggesting that focusing deeply on one area isn't a bad thing. Another, Path of Martial Arts, encourages players to train their daughter in combat skills, aiming for a warrior career like her father, though it acknowledges the daughter might not be physically strong. The path, different from others, suggests a more unconventional, hands-off approach to parenting, hinting at mysterious or guardian deity-related outcomes. Wishing for daughter's happiness focuses on the goal of marrying the prince, which is a classic ending. Lastly, Path of Pleasure touches upon less reputable jobs, implying that pursuing these could lead to undesirable results, and it highlights the need for certain stats. There's also a section on part-time jobs or employment, which mentions that if all 4 of your daughter's main stats are low, certain bad endings are inevitable. Finally, Maker's Corner announces the Saturn release of Princess Maker 2, praising its enhanced graphics and overall power-up compared to previous versions. They're even giving away Prime 2 posters to 10 lucky people who send in entries. This page describes X Japan Virtual Shock 001, a unique adventure game based on X Japan's White Night concert. Players assume the role of a cameraman infiltrating backstage to film the band members, offering a virtual X experience. The game involves finding items like film and lenses to progress. A timetable walkthrough details how to interact with each member. Find Tushi's room, photograph him, obtain an all-area pass, use the elevator, find Heath, get Pata's costume, and find Pata after. The goal is to capture backstage photography of the band members.
The game offers a distinctive way to experience being backstage with X Japan.
The next page continues, the guide for X Japan Virtual Shock 001, diving into gameplay walkthrough steps. It starts with Hyde's section, where you need to get him drinks, Japanese sake, wine, or bourbon, before taking his picture in the catering room. Then, it's on to the midterm report section in the press room, where you'll find announcements and staff members. Moving on, you'll need to visit Yoshikaki's room, find a red rose on the piano, and get some shots of him filming. The guide then takes you to the edit section on the 3rd floor for Rusty Nail video editing, where you can use 4 camera angles. Next is the live section, where you go to the stage entrance, encounter a blonde lady, and head to the platform to the left to experience the longing performance. Finally, for the ending, you'll need to get a wristband from a staff member. This page is essentially a step-by-step guide to navigating the Virtual Shock 001 game and experiencing backstage with X Japan. This page is showcasing the SEGA Saturn game, King of Boxing, and focusing on its hidden characters. The article reveals that upon completing the game's main event and defeating the champion, you unlock a very unexpected character, a kangaroo boxer named Kiki the kangaroo. It mentions this kangaroo even has a baby in its pouch and is described as very cute. The page highlights the Versus mode, where you can use this kangaroo character to battle against friends. Furthermore, the article reveals other hidden characters available in Versus mode beyond just the kangaroo. These include a silver robot boxer, both male and female versions, and characters who seem to be a snake trainer, and a manga artist named Yamato and Mutsu, implying a variety of quirky and unique fighters can be unlocked and used in the game. The reviewer seems quite amused and impressed by these hidden characters, and suggests players try out matches with these unusual fighters for fun. This guide explores combo training in the game King of Boxing, focusing on techniques taught by the trainer snake. Combos vary based on your chosen fighting style. Key inputs include S, straight, H, hook, and U, upper. The guide highlights 4 styles: Open, Balanced, Detroit, Speed and Reach, Oscar, Smart Fighting, and Peekaboo, Power. Each style features example combos like left straight straight and left straight straight hook, along with special moves. Specific inputs for special moves are left as a challenge for players to discover. The goal is to familiarize players with different styles and basic combos, encouraging them to practice and develop their boxing skills. This page is diving into 2 games, Thunderstorm and Road Blaster. Starting with Road Blaster, it mentions the game's controls are designed to feel like you are handling a real anime vehicle, and mastering the crash sequences is key. The page provides a helpful table of key command inputs, explaining that T is for charge, B is for brake, and K is for crash attack. It highlights that using a compatible steering wheel controller will enhance the game experience, making control smoother and increasing heat gauge buildup by 20%. There's a comparison of original concept art to in-game visuals, showing how faithfully the anime style was brought to life in the game. Moving on to Thunderstorm, the page emphasizes using all your senses while playing. For movement, it's not just about visual cues, but also listening to audio cues. Sound is important, as it provides hints about enemy positions even when they're off-screen, requiring players to use their auditory senses. The page also advises players to think strategically, noting that the game sometimes locks the viewpoint when many enemies appear on screen, emphasizing the need to quickly assess the situation and plan accordingly. Finally, in an OMAKE or bonus section, it discusses the terrorist weaponry in Thunderstorm. It mentions that real-world military helicopters like the O-6J and A-64 appear in the game as enemy units, appealing to weapon enthusiasts. The page shows detailed line art of the LX-3 helicopter, highlighting its intricate design. This page is all about Puyo Puyo 2, starting with a look at the game's TV commercials for the SEGA Saturn version. It questions if readers have seen all the different types of commercials, hinting at various versions or episodes. The page then dives into these commercial types, showing storyboards or behind-the-scenes photos. There are sections titled Scherzo Edition, Suketudara Edition, Nohoban Edition, and Witch Edition, suggesting each commercial focuses on or features these characters. Moving on, the page transitions to Puyo Puyo Basics for Beginners. It breaks down fundamental Puyo Puyo techniques into 4 key areas: stacking, chain reactions, attack and defense, and handicap. For each basic technique, there's a brief explanation and screenshots illustrating the concept in the game, such as how to stack Puyos, create chains, and understand attack and defense strategies. It also touches upon handicap options for players of different skill levels. Finally, there's a section about a Puyo Puyo Saturn present, likely a giveaway for readers, possibly of Puyo Puyo themed merchandise. This page is showcasing the brand new robot combat action game, Cyber Troopers Virtualon, from SEGA AM3. It's highlighted as a major feature and is anticipated to be a big hit, possibly even for the SEGA Saturn console. The article talks about it as a completely new type of robot battle action game that was a hot topic at the recent JAMA show. They emphasize that the game features intense and exciting battles, where players use various weapons and strategies based on distance and the opponent. It mentions 8 different Virtualoids are available, each with unique characteristics, allowing players to choose one that suits their playstyle. The page shows screenshots of in-game action, depicting one-on-one super battles where players use lever and buttons for controls, including dash moves and turbo buttons, with matches continuing until one player's HP reaches 0. There's also a section on melee combat, emphasizing honing your skills in close-quarters battles. The game is designed to encourage aggressive and intense fights. Finally, the page introduces 4 of the 8 Virtualoids in detail: versus R. Temjin, versus R. Dorcas, versus R. Feyen, and versus R. Belgdor, giving brief descriptions of their combat styles and strengths, like Temjin being well-balanced, Dorcas being heavily armored, Feyen using unique weapons, and Belgdor being a powerful artillery type. The game is noted to be running on the Model 2 board, and scheduled for release in December.
Cyber Troopers Virtualon's popularity is confirmed, with a sequel, Virtualon 2, and a SEGA Saturn port in development. The game was a hit at the AM show, receiving the #1 vote. Interviews with AM3 members, Oguchi-san and Ozaki-san, reveal insights into the game's creation. Oguchi-san, head of AM3, expresses surprise and delight at the enthusiastic reception, noting the evolution from a one-stick control scheme. Ozaki-san discusses the outsourced robot designs, aiming for a more character-driven experience, and highlights the importance of the 3D graphics. He's optimistic about a Saturn port. The page also introduces 4 new Virtualoids: versus R. Viper 2, versus R. Balbaspo, versus R. Apharimd, and versus R. Raiden, complete with screenshots. The article celebrates Virtualon's success and anticipates a bright future, especially the Saturn version. This page from SEGA M2 Research Volume 11 Express Neo focuses on the upcoming arcade game Fighting Vipers. It announces that Fighting Vipers will be available in arcades from November, and the article aims to delve into the game's new appeal. The page highlights basic battle techniques for Fighting Vipers, explaining that it uses a similar 3-button control scheme to Virtua Fighter, but with new combat tactics. It details a few key moves, like the forward attack using kick plus guard plus kick, the guard attack using punch or back plus punch or kick, the throwing/wall technique executed when close to an opponent using punch plus guard, and the ukemi, air recovery, performed in the air with punch plus kick plus guard. There's also an interview section with Mr. Katagiri, the chief of Fighting Vipers. He discusses the positive reception of the game after location tests following the JAMA show. He mentions that the control feel and commands are different from Virtua Fighter and aimed for a more intuitive experience, with stage gimmicks being a key feature. He wants players to experience the unique stages and characters like Honey and Toki, confirming they will all be in the arcade version. Katagiri hopes players will enjoy the game's different feel compared to VF and have fun with it. The article explores the evolution of Virtua Fighter characters through the Virtua Fighter CG Portrait series. The Jackie and Sarah editions were successful, and anticipation is high for the upcoming Akira and Pain editions. Interviews with the direction and CG design leads reveal insights into the creation process. The director emphasizes a flow and enjoyment in designing Akira and Pain, setting them apart from previous editions. The CG designer highlights the improved quality compared to in-game graphics, particularly noting the smooth modeling that evokes Virtua Fighter 3. The portraits depict realistic scenarios, Akira training and Pain in her home. A special Dural-themed gift is teased, potentially related to elemental themes. The designers aim to create images referencing Virtua Fighter 3. This document details the development of Virtua Fighter 3 by AM Research Department. Number 2. Focusing on the shift to realistic 3D graphics and character models. The team emphasized the evolution of key features, like the command input system and barcode battles. A JAMA show presentation showcased refined character models, particularly Akira, and the implementation of combos. The developers enjoyed working on characters like Akira and Pain, striving for a different feel. They aimed for improved graphics to achieve the Virtua Fighter 3 look. The article also announces the upcoming release of a VF calendar and hints at new characters, including a Japanese female character. Finally, it mentions Virtua Fighter Remix for Windows, with enhanced resolution and colors, and suggests future PC ports of SEGA titles, including Sonic and Panzer Dragoon. This page dives deeper into Virtua Fighter 3. It talks about how the new game aims to evolve the command system while ensuring it's still intuitive for players. They're even considering making it easier to execute moves than in Virtua Fighter 2, moving away from complex 3-button inputs. New characters are being introduced, and the article mentions Adora the Butcher as a potential character concept, with costumes and personalities reflecting more realistic lifestyles. The backgrounds are also getting a significant power-up graphically. There's also a spotlight on the new cabinet design called the Astro City Cabinet, which is built for versus play and improves the sound system. Apparently, the instruction strips on the cabinet are being replaced with pop displays. The command input system itself is still being tweaked, with variations between a 50% complete version and the JAMA show version, which hints at ongoing refinements. The article then touches upon the dual mode, questioning if it will be truly viable in Virtua Fighter 3, reflecting on the low 1/16th chance in Virtua Fighter 2.1. They ponder if the unique techniques from 2.1 will be fully integrated and usable in VF3 for serious competitive play. Finally, it announces the Virtua Fighter TV anime, titled VF World 3, is airing and receiving great reviews and high viewership. It mentions the anime story ties into the Virtua Fighter 3 world. The broadcast is on TV Tokyo every Monday evening. Wheel of Fortune is an official strategy video for Virtua Fighter 2. Created to provide advanced gameplay techniques and strategies for all 10 characters. Developed by the game's creators, it aims to go beyond basic gameplay, offering expert-level advice for competitive players. The video dives deep into each character's unique moves, combos, and counter-strategies, reflecting current, high-level playstyles. The production involved extensive planning and filming, ensuring a comprehensive guide for serious Virtua Fighter 2 fans. Priced at 2,900 yen, the 30-minute video was also promoted with a pre-order bonus phone card. The AM2 Research Institute Information Bureau discusses Virtua Surf and Virtua Fighter 2. They humorously mention the age rating of VF2. The text explores alcohol representation in the arcade and Saturn versions of VF2, noting the Saturn version allows intoxication, while the arcade only reddens characters. It details the Saturn version's arcade board basis and mentions control box effects. The document also analyzes the Super Mega Gallo 2 arcade board's price and power consumption. Blood types in Virtua Fighter are touched upon. The page then highlights Mr. Funabashi Keiji's record in Daytona, USA on the Saturn version. Finally, the article details AM2's reader prizes, a Virtua Fighter calendar, a SEGA Saturn bag, animation cells, and a t-shirt, alongside fan-submitted illustrations, including artwork featuring Pei-chan from Virtua Fighter. Lunar Express previews the upcoming Saturn and Game Gear versions of Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. The Game Gear version, nearing completion, is a must-have for fans, focusing on a school drama centered around 4 girls. Players will experience their school journey, from enrollment to graduation,
This Game Gear release boasts 13 chapters and minigames. Screenshots showcase the school's island setting, indoor locations, towns surrounding the school, and typical RPG dungeon environments, with battles, traps, and puzzles. An interview with developer Mr. Tomika Zunari reveals a new scenario aimed at a broad audience, including younger players. He estimates 23 hours of gameplay per chapter, highlighting the lighthearted, enjoyable lunar experience. The team refined character designs alongside the story, promising surprises and a faithful recreation of the unique lunar atmosphere.
This page features a vibrant update on the Saturn version of Lunar. Silver Star story complete, reassuring fans that development is progressing smoothly. Screenshots showcase the game's world, emphasizing the rich colors and detailed pixel art that stays true to the lunar style. The article highlights the effort put into the graphics and promises a grand adventure. There are also reader submissions featured, showcasing fan art inspired by Lunar. One reader comments on the music, mentioning how much they enjoy Luna's songs and Alex's ocarina melodies. A section titled Oishi Okonomiyaki, Delicious Okonomiyaki, presents a step-by-step guide to making okonomiyaki, a Japanese savory pancake, supposedly taught by Mr. Jumaguruma of the development team. It's a light-hearted recipe segment with photos of the cooking process. Lastly, Rune Night Corner highlights fan-submitted illustrations based on the world of Lunar by artist Mr. Satoke. The article teases the next issue, promising to feature Game Gear Lunar again and asking readers to look forward to more from Mr. Jumaguruma. This page in SEGA Saturn magazine presents a series of game reviews conducted by different reviewer groups: Lady Users, Game Mania, and guest game writers. Starting with King the Spirits, or I Dayton, the Race Gods in English, the reviews highlight its intense speed and drift mechanics, praising the sense of exhilaration on downhill sections. The Lady Users appreciated the car customization, while Game Mania Group liked the drifting and sense of speed, though noted the polygon graphics were a bit rough, but still found it enjoyable overall, giving it an 8 out of 10. Guest game writers also gave it a 7, enjoying the exhilarating racing experience and drift feeling, but pointed out the visuals could be better, concluding it was generally well made for a racing game. Next up is Baku Baku Animal, World Animal Championship, a puzzle game. Lady Users found it cute and enjoyable, particularly the puzzle aspects and animal characters. Game Mania Group felt it was a typical falling block puzzle game, and while enjoyable, it lacked innovation, scoring it a 5 out of 10. Guest game writers seemed more positive, giving it a 7 and calling it a solid puzzle game, praising the sound and CG characters, as well as the block-stacking puzzle system. Overall, the page offers a snapshot of game reviews, providing varied opinions from different gamer perspectives on these SEGA Saturn titles. This page continues the game reviews with more perspectives from different groups of reviewers, starting with a strategy board game, likely Shogi. Under the title, Sentu Kyogi, the Lady User Group found the presentation a bit overwhelming, mentioning hard-to-read text and BGM issues, but thought older players might enjoy it, giving it a score of 6 out of 10. The High Rollers debated the polygon graphics, acknowledging them as new but raising concerns about the processing power, scoring it a 5. Guest writers focused on the CPU settings and tactical options, but felt beginners might find it challenging, also scoring it a 6. Next is World Series Baseball. Lady Users praised the graphics and gameplay, enjoying the excitement of baseball, but wished for sun scene and voice acting, awarding it an 8. Rollers compared it to Greatest 9, noting improvements but desiring better data, and gave it a 6. Guest writers also compared it to Greatest 9, highlighting the speed and improved movement, praising the overall system, but noticing some rough edges, and wishing for better cheering BGM, scoring it a 7. Lastly, they reviewed Rayman. Lady Users loved the cute characters, stage presentation, action, and the satisfying progression of learning new skills, giving it a 7. Rollers called it crazy action, praising the visuals, unique setting, and challenging puzzles, also scoring it a 7. Guest writers reflected on the trial and error nature of the gameplay, appreciating the sense of accomplishment, but finding it sometimes too difficult, awarding it a 6. Galaxy Fight received mixed reviews. Lady Users found it accessible and charming, scoring it a 7. Rollers praised the port but criticized loading times and AI, awarding a 4. Guest writers enjoyed the action and Neo Geo port, highlighting the two-player mode, giving a 6. Pop and Poo Poom was divisive.
Lady users found the visuals charming but gameplay lacking, resulting in a 4. High Rollers enjoyed its unpredictable style, scoring a 6. Guest writers called it slow-paced, despite the cute characters, giving it a 3. Ochen's picture logic was met with similar opinions. Lady users enjoyed the logic puzzles but criticized controls, earning a 6. Guest writers compared it to Picross, highlighting depth and larger puzzles, and scored it a 5. 3 games and a software announcement are reviewed. Off-World Interceptor Extreme received mixed reviews. One reviewer found it fun with complex controls, 7/10. Another enjoyed its simplicity and visuals, 7/10. And a third liked the Mad Max-esque racing but found item usage disruptive, 6/10. Virtua Cop was universally praised as a near-perfect port. Reviewers lauded its improved graphics, satisfying gameplay, and value, with scores of 9/10. The game is highly recommended. The Virtua Fighter CG Portrait series, by and Akira, was announced, featuring improved CG portraits, various scenes, and a November 17th release for 1,280 yen. The editor recommends Virtua Cop and Off-World Interceptor as solid titles. This document details cheat codes for several SEGA Saturn games. In Hang-On GP95, enter right, left, up, down, Z on the mode select screen for unlimited race time. For Virtua Fighter CG Portrait series, holding X while selecting autoplay provides karaoke music. Thunderstorm and Road Blaster share a stage select and Atari mode cheat. In Thunderstorm, set players to 5 in options, configure free customize, then press X, Y, and Z at the title screen. This unlocks stage select and Atari mode, invincibility. Layer section / Galactic Attack offers double credits. At the title screen, press left, R, C, and start for 8 credits. Finally, in Clockwork Knight, input right, up, left, up, right, down, Allel, at the title screen, to view the ending. This document details cheat codes and hidden features for several SEGA Saturn games. In SEGA International Victory Goal, holding L and R during the pre-match flag display accesses a commentary selection. Golden Axe. The duel allows character selection after a versus mode win by pausing and pressing L on the win screen. In Nobunaga's Ambition, Heavenly Record, holding R while pressing X and Z during a new game start unlocks a new scenario. Outrun Twin Deluxe Pack features Konami code power-up and miss-cancel cheats, as well as a stage select unlockable by specific in-game achievements. Masters Haruka Naru Augusta 3 reveals a demo menu by holding right, X, and Z during a reset. Finally, a call for cheat code submissions for SEGA Saturn, Super 32X, Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear games to the Next Generation Cheat League is included, with monetary prizes and book coupons offered for successful submissions. This page introduces the CD Bros Guide, focusing on video CD and photo CD software for the SEGA Saturn. It highlights Chaplin's classic film, The Gold Rush, as a video CD release, perfect for autumn evenings. The page mentions its release date as November 10th, priced at 3,800 yen for 2 discs containing 81 minutes of content. It's described as a great opportunity to own this Chaplin masterpiece on video CD. Another featured title is Cat Dayan in Wonderland, presented as a photo CD. This appears to be a children's storybook experience on photo CD, allowing users to enjoy fantasy stories with illustrations. It seems aimed at families and children, encouraging them to experience the world of Dayan through photo CD. The page also explains the capabilities of video CD, photo CD, and electronic book formats on the SEGA Saturn. Video CD utilizes a decoder card and VCD player to play movies and videos. Photo CD uses a photo CD operator to view photo data. Electronic books use an electronic book operator to view electronic book data. Finally, there's a brief advertisement section for a Primera and Primera Camino Video CD Present campaign, likely a promotion from Nissan Motors, where they are giving away video CDs. There's also a small section for reader feedback and applications for this promotion. SEGA Saturn Magazine is hosting a Reader Presents giveaway. Prizes include a choice of any SEGA Saturn game released before December 7, 1995, for 20 winners, the Tenchi Muyo game, for 3, and a combo prize of an SNK card holder and a Darius Gaiden clear case, for 10. Other prizes include a Virtua Fighter anime poster for 10, a Street Fighter RBOF telecard for 3, a Shugi Festival set of Nobori flags and telecard for 3, and a set of Puyo Puyo Tsu and Madu Monogatari A posters for 5. The page also announces the October winners and provides magazine publication details, including the upcoming issue release date, December 8th, available November 24th, contact information, and game hint availability. This page showcases the SEGA Saturn racing game, Formula 1, published by Time Warner Interactive. It features several screenshots from the game, highlighting the fast-paced racing action and various tracks. Track names like Dan Fogarty, Daybreaker, Vitazzo, Paradise Beach, Harbor Falls, and Pacific Drift are visible in the screenshots, suggesting a diverse range of racing environments. The bottom of the page includes publisher information for Time Warner Interactive in Tokyo.
This page is an exciting announcement for the SEGA Saturn release of Virtua Racing, brought to you by Time Warner Interactive. The bold headline shouts, "Victory!" setting the tone for high-speed racing action. You can see screenshots showcasing the game's signature polygonal graphics across different tracks. Locations like Bay Bridge, Alpine, Diablo Canyon, and Metropolis are displayed, promising varied and thrilling races. The release date is confirmed for December 22nd, and the suggested retail price is 5,800 yen. It seems there's also a Teleka campaign running, a common promotion where you could get a phone card, with more details in the game's manual.
This page is focused on the exciting upcoming SEGA Saturn game, World Series Baseball featuring Hideo Nomo. It's a huge announcement with the headline proclaiming, "Nomo appears," and declaring that this autumn, the baseball game world will be hit by a tornado, referencing Nomo's famous pitching style. The game is presented as a renewal of the Greatest 9 series, boasting powerful and speedy Major League Baseball action with enhanced polygon graphics. It promises to faithfully recreate all 28 Major League teams and players from the '95 season, including Nomo's signature tornado pitching motion and both playoff and World Series modes. The release is scheduled for November 17th at a price of 5,800 yen. The page features screenshots of the game and a prominent image of Hideo Nomo in his pitching stance, really highlighting his star power.